All right, let's start the card review. We are gonna basically be doing a rating from 1 through 5. I'm just gonna be doing it like, you know, on my hands. Hopefully next time I can set up some sort of system. I know a lot of the Japanese players, they do this like Excel sheet or whatever that automatically puts the scores and stuff. I'd love to figure that out. I'm just not smart enough to do that. So we are just going to just be doing 1 through 5. 5, of course, being kind of relegated to like the most broken cards and the best cards of the expansion. And then 1, of course, is like the worst, probably will never see play type cards. So yeah, I don't know like how harsh we're gonna be. I'm gonna you know, go through and everything, and we'll talk about it. But yeah, I kind of like the Rune Bronze that puts a brew in your hand. I think that card's pretty good. I actually think that card's pretty good too, because it's the one that draws a card, right? You get the Cauldron, right? But yeah, all right. We're gonna start with neutrals, and we're gonna go from bronzes to legendary. So we're gonna start with the bronzes here, and first we'll start with the Twin Blade Goblin here. 1-drop, 1/1. We did get a Goblin, but not the Goblin, right? The Goblin is a 1/2. So it definitely seems like they do not want to be doing too many good 1-drops. I'm trying to figure out where to put chat. I'll put chat right here. Too many good 1-drops because, you know, we never got a 1/2. And I do think they might think with the coin that coining out 2 1-drops might be too good. And I probably agree. But so the Twin Blade Goblin is a 1-drop 1/1 fanfare. If there's a super evolved allied follower on the field, select an enemy follower on the field and deal it 4 damage. I think this card is fairly weak. It is sort of a 1-drop deal 4 in some decks that are going to be super evolving a lot or have extra super evolve. So like, you know, Sword can extra super evolve with the Gildaria, which we'll talk about later. I think it could also be good in control decks. But really the only control decks that exist right now is like Haven, which is pretty bad. And then something like Puppet Portal. But the issue with Puppet Portal is now, and we're going to get into those cards, but you're really going to be able to save Evo points for way, way later in the game. And you're not really going to need this guy because when you evolve, it's going to be either evolving Liam or evolving Orcus, right? So I think this guy's pretty bad. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's like a 1. I just don't think he'll see too much play. Oh, I joined the stream to the best card of the set. I feel like this is Extra Face Dragon Ward Clear. My issue with that is I don't know if you can afford to play a 1-drop in Dragon like this, where it's only applicable late game, and 1/1s just aren't impactful enough on the board. And, you know, you just don't draw enough cards in Dragon where you can feel okay playing this in your deck and it only being that good later in the game. So, I'm not sure. Amazing, the Carbuncle X Roach combo. Yeah, if you're playing all Carbuncles, I guess. Carbuncle... Maybe. You just make so many fairies, though. Like, fairies are way better than this. And you have Bale. What time is the release? 1 o'clock a.m. PST. So, basically an hour and a half. I think I'm going to give Twin Blade Goblin a 2. It is a 1-drop, so maybe we get some aggro deck. And just 1-drops are good, like, in an aggro deck, right? And I could see this being good in some control decks, maybe. But other than that, I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to give it a 2. I don't think it's unplayable, but I wouldn't pick it first, I guess. Next card, we have Dark Side. That's a kind of interesting name. It's a 2-drop neutral spell. So immediately, you know, kind of red flags go off for Rune, right? Spell boost Rune. Select a follower on the field, give it +2, -2. So I talked a lot about this card when it got revealed. I think this card is really, really strong. Very flexible. Most of the time you can read this as 2 cost, deal 2 damage to something, right? But then other times you can apply it to deal extra 2 damage to face, because you can like buff one of your Storm guys or something that lived, right? And get some extra damage. And I just think the flexibility at a low cost is really strong. and we've seen effects like this be really good in Shadowverse's history. Thinking about the Gildaria, of course, had lifelink, or drain, so you got like the bonus of dealing like 6 damage and healing 6, but even just still that effect is really strong. And of course it's on a spell, so spell boost can play it, and just every other, pretty much like almost any deck can play this, probably besides like Sword and stuff like that. But yeah, I really like this card. I think I'm gonna give it a 4. I don't think it's a 5, because again, we're relegating the 5s to like the most broken cards of the set and like the really impactful ones. But this is pretty close. Like this card will never be like super impactful, but it will sort of raise the floor of decks that play it, right? I know it helps a lot with Sword, Giant Ward Board. With the Goblin, maybe, but it's still a card out of your hand, and it's a 1-drop, and it does nothing off the field, or like on the field. Just join, die, miss anything. You only miss the Goblin. Yeah, you only missed the 1-drop 1/1 Goblin. We're just starting here, so you didn't miss much. Gildaria was insane. The Invocation was wild. Yeah, the Invocation was good, but the real strength of it was there was a fighter that on Evolve could kill something or heal 6, and still kill something, most likely, right? So yeah, I'm going to give Darkside a 4. Then we only get 1 neutral silver, which is, I don't know, I feel like Jafnar and Hidakar could have been gold, or they could have been silvers, and Grimnir could have been gold, and we only get 1 neutral legendary, but, whatever. So, Sharetta Angelic Maid, 2-drop 2/2, Fanfare. If you've unlocked Super Evolution, give this follower +3 health, and it has Ward. So obviously this is going to easily slide into Ward Haven, right? Fighter early game with Ward, right? And then later game it'll come out from the Aether and be a 2/5, and after Wilbert it'll be a 3/7. So really, wait, did I do that math right? Yeah, 3/7. Yeah. Really strong. I really like this thing. Also, this is one of the Olivia's best targets now, because even outside of Ward Haven, right? This being a 5/8 ward after Olivia Evolve is really nice. This is also going to help against like Albert, because Albert, of course, comes down, deals 3 AoE, and is going to be blocked by this. And usually when you Albert, that's a whole turn. So I really like this card. Yeah, this card plus Albert is 16 damage. That we're talking about the dark side. Yeah, for sure. But you need a extra play point. So I don't think that's realistic. Maybe use an Abysscraft for Cemetery Ghost Evolve. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is good for Haven. What's with the Super Evo effects? Yeah, it seems like they want to do a lot of Super Evo synergy. That seems like something they really want to do. This is not a neutral card. It's more of a Haven card. I don't know. I think you're going to see this a lot, actually. I think in a lot of those decks that play a lot of neutral cards, right? Thinking about Puppet, right? I think this is pretty good in Puppets. And I think this is just a good meta call, tech call, right? It's like, hey, I want a fighter. We have a plethora of fighter options now. And I think this is one of the better ones, honestly. I will die before Albert at 9. Yeah. I think Wardhaven needs the Olivia draw. Yeah, I think you're going to still play Olivia in Wardhaven, but I'm not sure. It's basically a sword deck without proper finisher. I think Lapis is a pretty good finisher. I think that if you do play the Darkhaven Grace, I think the Eagle or the Bird is a pretty good finisher. And I think the finisher is just, you have a big fucking board that can't be touched, right? So yeah, I like this. I think Sharetta I'm going to give a 3. I think that it would be like a, no, it probably is always a 3. I think it's 3 leaning 4. So I think for every other deck besides Wardhaven, it's a tech option that might end up being pretty good. But I think for Wardhaven, it's an auto include. So I'm going to give it a 3. Fanfare don't work with Aether. Oh, that's right. For some reason, because yeah. Sorry, I was thinking about the video where they show Wilbert evoing, and then they Aether didn't exist at that point, so they just played out the cards. But I was thinking about in my head that it'd be a 3. So no, you wouldn't get off Aether, but it's still good in the early game. Actually, yeah, how good is this then? I think it's still pretty good. I think it's still a 3. I guess you wouldn't get it off Aether anyway because you want to be playing 3-drop wards. I think this is still good, though. I think this is still good. Maybe Wardhaven sucks. Maybe Wardhaven sucks and this like won't see that much play. But even once you play in Wardhaven, I think this is still a pretty good card as a tech option against some decks. Roach, too. You know, this is kind of hard to remove for Roach. It's 5 health instead of 4. So they need like a Bale and a Fairy. Which they always have. So, yeah. Shred, I'm gonna still give a 3. Yeah, I think Shred is a 3. I think Shred is 3. Yeah, it's hard 3 now. Yeah, for sure. Alright, gold neutrals. Hinicar and Jafner. 2-drop, 2-2. Their duo unit now, which is kind of sad because Jafnar is just not present in this card design at all. Like, definitely got the short end of the stick. So 2-drop, 2-2, enhance 5, evolve this follower. So it auto-evolves on 5. And then last words, if this follower is evolved, you deal 4 damage to a random enemy follower. So I like this card as, again, like a fighter option, a fighter tech option. But it doesn't clear a lot of turn 5 boards that we can think of right now, right? So, like, obviously, Anne and Gray, it's not clearing unless you had a really good turn beforehand and they had to swing stuff in. And then it's also not really clearing an Alouette board. And then also the fact that the effect is random. I don't love that. But I do think it'll see some play, and I think it'll just be like an option if you go play this or Filled Out. I think Filled Out right now is just generally better for a lot of the turn 5 plays right now, but I think maybe later game, or not even maybe, like definitely later game, Hinicar and Jafnar are way better. So you're playing, again, like a control deck. You probably want to play Filled Out anyway, and probably this guy, or these people. So, yeah, I like this card. I don't think it's a 4, but, okay, so hold on, wait, so there's Aether, Proc, Williams, Crest. Yo, or Wilbert's Crest comes into play. Ward comes into play. So Wilbert will work. That card was fanfare. Sharetta was fanfare, so the effect will not work. But Wilbert's Crest is when a ward follower comes into play. That's why his guys become 2/4s. That you know, when he dies. Time to run 21 copies of Fighter. Yeah, you can actually run a lot of Fighters now, right? Which is kind of funny, actually. Yeah, I like Hinicar and Jafnar. I think they are pretty good. I think they'll see some play, but again, it's like probably won't see play over the Filled Out, is what I would guess. All right, next card is the other gold for neutral. I really like this card, Raina. 7-drop, 5/5. Evolve, no effects other than evolve. Evolve all unallied. Sorry, evolve all unevolved allied followers on the field. This card gives me very much Gremory vibes from the original game, the original Gremory, where she would come down and evo all of your unevoked things. She did have some card draw involved with her, so that, you know, that is a good part of her. But I do think this card has some applications right now. Of course, I think the immediate thing is in Abyss. You can set up 2 amulets on the field and crack them and then do 12 damage with ghosts. Is that realistic? I don't think it's unrealistic, right? I think it's like an option. And if that was the only thing you could do with this card in Abyss, then I think it would be bad, right? But we've seen so many sticky followers come out from Abyss right now. And I think that just if 2 things live, this card's going to get a ton of value, right? And then obviously she combos well with Sharon, because Sharon's going to reanimate something at the start of your turn, and you get a guaranteed thing, right? And Abyss just has so many of these cards that either make extra bodies or are hard to remove, that you can play this card, Evo stuff, and then get even more face damage. So yeah, you can kind of see this as like an alt Olivia a little bit. But yeah, I like this card a lot. Am I coping a double cemetery and Terran evolve all the ghosts? Yeah. Great, glad we covered that. Yeah. I definitely think that is like, if that was the only thing you'd do with this card, I think you'd be bad, right? But also the fact that all the skeletons are 0 cost. And yeah, the Rotting Zombie, exactly. The new token that we got in this set for Abyss is going to be really hard to remove. And yeah, I guess why Dark Angel Olivia? Yeah, basically. Another deck that I think this card could see some play is Puppets. And you might be like, you know what? But adding basically 2 extra damage to all of your puppets at some point is really good. And we'll talk about the puppet cards soon. But we're now going to be able to really hoard evolve points easier because we just have so many. We have so many big like nukes now that we can probably afford to play a card like this for extra removal, but it might not, be worth it. Rain is awful, I think, lol. Grimnir did that for 6 and was great early game 2 for the draw. Well, Grimnir got nerfed to 7, and it was still played. But yeah, the Grimnir draw, Grimnir didn't draw early game. She drew, like, when you evolved, right? But the first of all was usually Cerberus. But yeah. It's kind of hard to add Raina to the deck with how many good cards we have. That's true. We are getting to a point where, like, we have a lot of good cards, and she just might not have a slot. I think Olivia usually takes a slot. Yeah. She's bricky if the setup isn't there, but the payoff might be worth it. Yeah. Wardhaven, Holy Sabers, what I see with... Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. You never play her over Serb, and if you didn't draw Serb, you cry anyway. Well, this comes down to turn before Serb, right? This comes down to turn before Serb. Which is another reason I like it, is like... big turn you can have before Serb that takes a lot of resources, and then the Serb comes down, and you don't have to just, like, OTK with the Serb, kind of like how you have to right now. Aggro with Birds and Eagle plus Raina. That's true, yeah, you could crack a bunch of amulets, and, actually, that's actually pretty... That could be pretty good. You crack a bunch of amulets, and then you evolve everything. That's pretty interesting. Dragon might use this. Which dragon could you... Maybe Dragon could use this. I think Dragon has a lot of good 7-drops, right? It has... Now we have Neptune, and then we are getting... now we have Neptune, and we had Burnite, right? So, I'm going to give this a 2, though. I was kind of praising it, but I am going to give this a 2. I don't think it's, like, amazing. I think it's... could see some play. Most of my speculation about it was with Abyss, right? So, don't want to, like, super, overrate this thing. But, yeah. Aggro Memorial just goes nuts with Raina. Aggro Memorial. Or just the what's it called? The Amulet Memorial? Yeah. He can definitely use it. Yeah, I could even, this is like sicko mode territory, but even like Rune, you get a couple, like 2 or 3 0-cost things and you evolve them. But yeah, I'm going to give this a 2. This is one of the cards I want to see played, but yeah. Good niche card, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Then we have the legendaries. Start with this one first. Grimnir, of course, very classic. Shadowverse and Rage Vomit. And Cygame's character. 3-drop, 2/3 ward. On play, gain Crest, Grimnir, Heavenly Gale. And the Crest is going to be, at the end of your turn, if there's a super evolved allied follower on the field, deal 2 damage to all enemy followers, and that lasts forever. This card is really strong in the right decks, right? One of the immediate ones is like Sword, because now we have an extra free Super Evo, right? Because we're going to be able to play Gildaria, who is going to Super Evo for free later on, and so we're going to get more AoE procs of this than other decks. Another thing that's interesting is comboing this effect with stealth units. So we have Vals already, who's a stealth unit, and we can pre-Super Evo him and get some AoE and kind of set up for Albert, right? And then now we have a new stealth unit with Prim. So that's kind of an interesting thing. So that's Sword. I think this is like almost an auto-include in Sword. We have a lot of Our 3-drops aren't amazing right now anyway. We had to play the dog. I like Lorala, and I do think Lorala will still have a place because we need to get to that 20 rally spot. But I do think turn 3 and 3-drops in general were kind of a weak point for Sword. So this is an easy on-curve ward unit. Yeah, I think for Sword, I think this is like almost an auto-include. Other decks, I think Puppets, this goes in Puppets pretty well. Orcus is going to be able to go face more often with her Puppets. And then I don't think Artifact has a spot for this or has a space for a card like this. I think this goes in Abyss. Again, being able to just clear boards easier with some of your like Olivia turns, or even now that we have Sharon, like being able to swing Sharon in and be okay with not doing anything else because we get the 2 damage AoE. Haven, of course, is a big one, right? We have the Ronavero, who is a stealth unit, who comes in Evo, Super Evo and kills something, right? So we can really get a lot of value off him if he like stays alive and we keep buffing him. It's kind of interesting, kind of similar to Liad, Liad's sword from back in the day for Sword in the first game. I don't think he gets played in Forest. I don't think he gets played in Rune. Maybe like Earthright Rune, if that ends up existing. And then Dragon, I think this does see play just because having an early game ward. Probably in both Dragon decks, actually. I think this sees play in both Dragon decks, aggro and ramp. And yeah, so I think this card is just insane. I think this card is really, really good. Instant Brain says 3.54, not uber broken, but damn, it's just useful. They're into OG Storm card and poke like Amaton and Grimnir into a ward. Yeah. Sword just eating, yeah. Just to make sure we are judging 5 with Angelic and Orcus. Yeah, 5 is like borderline game breaking. 5 is like meta warping, right? Angelic and Orcus are 5s. Yeah, that's a good way to say that. Grimnir auto included 3 in any tempo deck. I think I agree. I feel like Grimnir will kill Apollo as a card. Yeah, I think so. I think Apollo is already like on the weaker side of cards anyway. It doesn't do much against the best decks in the game, and it's a really low stat. Sword loves Grimnir to pair with Urius. Yeah, Urius is a funny pair as well. Is it per Super Evolve unit or just one trigger? It's one trigger. If it checks if there's a Super Evolve follower on the field, and then it does the thing. It sounds good, but it is only 2 damage and has to kill Ward first anyways? What do you mean by you have to kill Ward first? Grimnir also makes Olivia even better. AoE 4 2 big. Yeah. Olivia's real. I mean, Olivia was already one of the stronger cards last set, and she did not get worse, right? Yeah, it doesn't AoE 4. Yeah, it's a single one. Does Urius heal your opponent and damage you? No. You heal, your opponent takes the damage. We'll get to him though. So yeah, Grimnir. I don't think it's a 5 because there's only one for sure card that's a 5 in the set, and maybe one other one. So I am gonna give this a 4. But maybe once we're done, we'll come back and talk about it. But I am gonna give this a 4, leaning on 5, like 4, leaning on 5. But I'm not gonna do like halvesies. It's a 4. Olivia in an ambush card. Yeah. All right, Grimnir, pretty good. Then we get to another pretty good card, Odin, Twilight Fate, 7-drop 4/2 on play. Select an enemy card, so that can be amulets as well, on the field and banish it, and then it gets Storm. This is a card I keep going back and forth with. Initially, I was pretty down on it because I was kind of comparing it to the original Shadowverse game, right? A card like this is not amazing in the original Shadowverse game, like a 4/2. It does come down and hard remove something, but I think the thing about this game is we really are lacking hard removal. Like, hard removal is something that a lot of decks are lacking, and this being tied to a Storm, which Storm is like the best keyword in the game, right? Basically. And I do think this will end up just seeing a lot of play, and there's just so many applications it has, right? So obviously, like, the immediate applications is like control decks, being able to banish anything, really nice. Also being able to like banish something, and then if you have to, swing into something else. And then for those like kind of mid-range decks, right, being able to banish something and go face is really nice. Super Evolve adds 3 damage to this guy. And then even for the aggro decks, right, the aggro dragon decks, this is going to be a really awesome card. More Storm, more ways to get rid of Ward, more ways to like checkmate your opponent. So yeah, I think overall, I think this card is actually really, really strong and is going to see a lot of play. I'm going to go ahead and give this a 4. This is very close to a 5, though. It's like, if we look back on it and this is a 5, then that, like, you know, my bad, basically, right? But I am going to give this a 4, just because I'm like, 4-2 is just so low stats. The 4-2 is so low stats. Odin makes Artifact Cannon stop seeing play. Yeah. I mean, Artifact Cannon was already, like, but yeah, I think yeah, any big amulet is just gonna get hosed by this card. Imagine Force playing this for 9 off chain. Sorry, imagine Force playing this for 9 off chain and silliness on turn 7. I don't really know what that means. Sorry. The game seems to have gained more complications, not bad ones, mind you. However, Super Evolve seems to be a combo piece now. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Super Evolve adding 3/3 is really good. Oh, and with the Dragon Sword is going to go hard. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that. Yeah. He's an okay card, but probably too hard to play on 7 versus most. Like, that's sort of what I think. That's sort of what I was thinking initially, but thinking about it more, I think it is just too flexible. And, because even if it doesn't go face, you can still swing into something else, you know. What's up, Sakura? 8 play point, do nothing. Well, it costs 7. Yeah, Odin, I'm going to give a 4. So that was the neutrals. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go turn my air on real quick because it's getting kind of hot now. I'm getting excited for this game. So I will be right back. Give me like 30 seconds. Alrighty. Wow, we have 100 people watching right now. Thank you, guys. This is going to be a fun stream. I hope you guys are enjoying it. If you guys are enjoying it, maybe leave a like. And if you're new here, subscribe. That would be awesome. We're doing a lot of Shadowverse content. And, yeah. Also, if you guys, are going to be in and out on this card review, we are going to be uploading it on YouTube. So don't worry. But, yeah, let's get on to the next class, Forest. Forest is pretty interesting. Forest is already one of the better classes in the game right now, and I think it got some support for not only Roach, but now I think we're going to be able to play sort of more of a mid-range Forest deck that's not so hard into so hard into Roach. So I really like that. So just to confirm, wait, didn't we talk about that already? Am I crazy? No. Yes, Urius heals you and damages your opponent. We'll get to Urius, though. We're not on Urius yet. We'll get to Urius. Being a good tempo play, but a strong move. Well, yeah. Forte turn 6, Odin turn 7, Shark turn 8. Yeah, it's pretty good. Is the update in 2 minutes or 1 hour? Updates in 1 hour. Or the maintenance ends in 1 hour. Alright, let's start with Forest. We'll do the bronzes first. Wild Heart, 3-drop, 3/3 Rush. Unplayable. 1. Not much to say here. This is just really bad card. Really bad card. Scales really terribly into the late game. No traits or anything. Maybe okay in take 2. I think this is a 1, though. yeah, just unplayable. Woodwalkers. 7-drop. Summon 3 copies of Gentle Tree Ant. Tree Ant is the 4/4 with Strike, restore 2 defense to your leader. Obviously, the combo will not activate because it's you're not playing them. It's just coming into play. Unplayable. 1. Yeah, it's just an easy 1. Cannot be played. Yeah, I don't know. This is worse than that 3-drop though, so this is a 1. Starting really well with Forest, huh? Dwarven Mallet Man. I will say Forest always gets these like terrible bronzes and silvers. They're just like, they just have to make a combo piece, right? Dwarven Mallet Man, 5-drop, 5/5. Select enemy file on the field and deal it 4 damage. Combo 3, deal damage to all enemy files instead. Now, this is kind of an interesting card. This is, like, so close to being playable, but this obviously, like, wasn't designed with Anne and Greya in mind, right? If this said 5 or 6 damage, would that be too good? Probably. But I just think about what's the 5-drop from Abyss? The demon, what's his name? The 5-drop 4/4 with the Blood Pact, and then on evolve it deals 6 to something. Like, that's a pretty good effect in this game right now. Of course, it's evolve. But if this said 6, if this was a 5-drop 5/5 that dealt 6, I'd kind of like it. But it doesn't, so I think it's, like, unplayable. But in Take 2, I think it's pretty good. I am going to give this a 1, but I think that, yeah, I think this is okay in Take 2. But yeah, I'm going to give this a 1. Is that the last bronze? Yeah, that was the last bronze. Okay, silvers. Ambush from above. The minute I saw this, I thought it was Airbound Barrage, which didn't really make sense because they printed what's it, Fairy Burst? Is that the card? The 1-drop that bounces something and deals 2 random thing. But ambush from above. Do this 1 time. Deal 2 damage to a random enemy follower. Combo 3. Do it 2 times. I think this card sucks because there's no way. There's no reason to play this over the Fairy Burst. That's not the name of the card. What is the name of the card? The 1-drop that bounces something and deals 2 damage to a random thing. I call it just Airbound Barrage. It's like way worse Airbound Barrage. But you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't think this card will be played really at all. Yeah, I don't know. Like you don't even want that many of those cards anyway. So, and the best part of that is the bounce, right? See, I don't think this is playable. Bug Alert. Thank you, Bug Alert. Jeez, that was... I'm like, Fairy something. I'm like, Fairy Burst. No, Bug Alert. Bug Alert. Yeah, so I don't think you need, like, extra copies of Bug Alert. This is way worse than Bug Alert because it doesn't bounce. I was half there. Yeah, Bug Bounce, yeah. I like Bug Bounce more, yeah. Roach already too good, yeah. So, 1. There's a 1. Lionel, Ardent Elf. Lionel's a pretty cool character. He's funny. He really likes fluffy things. He likes animals and stuff. What did his original card do? I don't remember. But Lionel, Ardent Elf, 6-drop, 6/6. On play, summon 2 copies of Baby Carbuncle, and he has Ward. So summon 2 2/2s. And the 2/2s are like, kind of good if they're just on the field, right? Because they have that Super Evolve Recover 3 play point effect. Honestly, he's kind of a good card. Like, think about, you play this on 6, you Super Evo one of the Carbuncles, and then you have 3 play points left to work with. Kind of interesting, honestly. You could probably make a pretty big board. Is it constructed, playable? Maybe in mid-range forest? Maybe in mid-range forest is good enough. Probably not. I don't know. It's not unplayable. I'm going to give it a 2. Is it unplayable? Maybe it is unplayable. So much stats for 6. Yeah, it's ironically good, yeah. Yeah, but who do you cut as the issue? Well, we don't have, like, the mid-range force built yet, right? Like, I'm thinking of this totally in mid-range forest. Like, this is not a Roach card at all. This is a good card for a deck that doesn't exist. Well, it might exist. Like, I don't know. Another thing is this fuels, what's his name by 3? This fuels the, Bale by 3. I'm going to give this a 2. I'm going to give this a 2. If it doesn't see play, I wouldn't be surprised. But I can't say it's a 1. I definitely don't think it's unplayable. I'm going to give this a 2. This card is nuts in Take 2. This card is nuts in Take 2. Yeah, I'm going to give Lionel a 2. Next, we move on to a card that, like, low-key is absurd. Let me see. Fairy already uses as removal because Rush, unlike Shadowverse 1. See, I think they want to buff Control Force maybe because I don't want to see another Rush. Feels Briar Queen. Yeah. Alright, Fairy Fencer. 2-drop, 2/2. Activates in hand. Whenever an allied follower super evolves, set the cost of this card to 1. And then on play, add a fairy to your hand. This is unironically close to a 5. Fully statted fighter gives you a fairy. Now remember one of the best cards in the game right now, the Vengeful Puppeteer. He's a 2-drop 2/2 that gives you a puppet in hand, and then Evo, gets a puppet. And then later in the game, this thing is a 1-drop 2/2 that gives you a fairy. This is gonna see play in Roach, and this is definitely gonna see play in whatever mid-range forest ends up being. This card is nuts. This card is really, really, really insane. Yeah, Lovestruck Puppeteer, is that you? Yeah. We already have seen this exact type of card see play. And this has a better effect because you don't have to evolve to get the second effect, right? Yeah, I think Fairy Fencer is, like, very close to a 5. It's a easy 4, definitely knocking on the door of 5. Definitely knocking on the 5 door. So, Fairy Fencer, amazing card. Will definitely see play in both versions of Forest. Okay, fair comparing Wise. Wait. Comparing Wise, this will be nuts if you get it with Olivia turns. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay, golds. Cynthia, Chivalrous Elf, 4-drop 4/3. And then on play, she's going to summon 2 copies of fairies. And then on evolve, she's going to give all allied pixie followers on the field +1 attack. I think this card is really, really, really strong. I think this is what's going to make mid-range force playable. This is basically a better version of Zirconia. And you don't need to Evo for the full effect, right? I like that this is Zirconia, but we get a lot of the value immediately instead of like Zirconia where it does nothing unless we have Evo points, right? And thinking about this, obviously it's good on its turn, right? Because you summon 2 rushes and then they become 2 attacks. And then this can attack too, so you're going to be able to clear out a lot of boards. Probably going to be able to clear out Anne and Greya boards, right? Because if it's on 5, if you're responding to them, it's going to be on your turn 5. So if you have a fairy in hand, you're going to be able to go fairy, play this Evo, kill the ward, and then kill the Anne and Greya. And that's if it got no damage, right? And that's if those cards didn't get any damage on them. So really like that. But then my immediate thing is you get Arya off with this card, or Arya off at some point in the game. Later on in the game on turn 7+, you can go Cynthia Fairy, freaking Blessed Fairy Dancer, or Faye Twinkletoes, and you're getting 9 storm damage. That sounds pretty good to me, that sounds pretty good to me. Good on the late game with Fairy Arya combos? Yeah. Fairies have rush, so I say pretty fair. Zirconia's the fake diamond, is Cynthia the real one? Yeah. Yeah, Cynthia Fairy, Twinkletoes after Arya. Exactly. But she buffs only pixies, unlike Zirconia. Well, Zirconia's... Well, so, like, Zirconia buffs other things as well, sure. But we're assuming, like, that only matters if something lived. And if something lived, we, like, won already. And not won the game, but, like, we won that turn already, right? So I think that's like kind of niche, and I'd way rather have because Draconia is really good on the turn she evolves, like on 4 or 5, but every turn after that, and especially if she can't evolve, she's not very good. This card is good all the time, basically. So yeah, it's a balance, but I think overall it turns out to, I think this card is better. Also the fact that it can get storm damage. After Arya's kind of Roach. Well, again, we're talking about not a Roach deck. We're talking about mid-range Forest. Which you probably play Roach in anyway, right? But, you know, yeah. And also it's still good before Arya, too. So yeah, I really like this card. I'm going to give this a 4. Not like as, you know, close to a 5 as the last card. Yeah, I'm going to give this a 4. I think this is a really strong card. Then we get to really, really strong card. Garden's Allure, 2-drop, fuse Forestcraft cards, any Forestcraft card. Draw a card. If you fuse to this card, draw 2 instead. Very boring, very good. This is a 5. This is the first 5 of the expansion. This is one of the best cards in the game immediately. The deck that definitely did not need card draw got the best card draw we've seen in the game so far. The fact that you can fuse fairies to this is really insane. So now you're really plussing. You don't even have to fuse a real card in your hand. You can fuse tokens and shit too. Insane. And it's really like frustrating that like there's a lot of decks that needed card draw, and Force was not the deck that needed card draw. This is going to be played in every Force deck till the end of time, till it rotates. And yeah, this is a 5. This is a 5. I think it's pretty simple, pretty easy. Card draw is good, right? 5 out of 5, yeah. No longer cursed by having a handful of carbuncles. Like I would say, yeah, exactly. Because a lot of Force has like cards where you want to play them, but you only want like the first copy, right? We do. I love a Cynthia leader. Unfortunately, it's Titania, who I care a lot less about. Cynthia has been more iconic to Force over the years. Yeah, I will say, I think Cynthia and Titania are definitely like battling for who's the most like non-relevant Force character. You know, very shocked Eliza didn't get the leader. Shocked. But yeah, very, very good. Very boring. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, exactly. This is a 5. Next, we go into the legendaries. Lymaga, or as I like to call it, Ligma. Oh, my nose. Am I going to sneeze? No, I think we're good. What is fusing? Fusing is like how the artifacts work, right? Where when you click fuse, and it brings up your hand, and you can put a card into it, and you lose that card, and you know, the card that you fused into gets effects or whatever, right? Force eating, yeah. Ligma, 7-drop, 7/7. Fanfest, like 2 enemy followers on the field. Give them can't attack followers or leaders until the end of your turn, or end of your opponent's turn. And then Super Evolve, select 2 enemy followers on the field and give them, at the end of each turn, deal 1 damage to your leader and 2 damage to this follower. This is tough. This is tough. I think that this could see play in mid-range Forest, and I think this may be a one of in like Roach to really delay some turns. You are basically going to be able to get 4 damage out of this, 5 even sometimes, with a Super Evolve, because you can go Super Evolve, or you lock something, Super Evolve, swing into something else so you get the 1 damage, and then you pass your turn and they take 2 damage and 1 face damage. That's 3 total face damage, and then they pass their turn and then they take another 2 damage. So that's 5 damage, you know, pretty uninteractable 5 damage, right? And Lymaga is a huge body. It's going to be a 10/10 after Super Evolve. But yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe it bridges the gap between like a control Forest, where this is the card you need to like get to the late game with Rose Queen or something. This is a really hard card to rate, because it's just like a very like board dependent card, right? Like if they went wide and they have 5 things on the field, you can't ever play this card, and it's probably dead. But if they just play a couple things at a time, or they're a slower deck, this is definitely like the slower deck eater. Like if this is like almost like an anti-control card, you know. Yeah. Bro, I hate to keep saying this, but after reading her effect, it's not confusing. So let's get to Urius, or we'll get to Urius soon. But read this part. Select 2 enemy followers on the field and gives them, at the end of each turn, deal 1 damage to your leader and 2 damage to this follower. That means that follower that the opponent owns takes the damage, and the opponent that owns that follower takes the damage to face, right? Let me just bring up Urius just so we can... This is how it works. This is 100% how it works. So look at the quotation marks. Give it, can't attack followers of leaders, end quotes. And then deal 1 damage to the enemy leader and restore 1 defense to your leader. It does the follower does not gain anything. Or the follower only gains can't attack followers of leaders. So that is how it works. That is how Urius works. The Rose Queen is real. I hope the Rose Queen is real. But yeah, Ligma, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 3. What do you guys think? Do you guys think 3 is too much? I don't know. What do you guys think about Ligma? Yeah, no problem. This game can be hard to understand sometimes, for sure. But definitely Urius, and I assume, like, you're kind of new to this game, but Urius has always worked like that for every time he's ever been a card in Shadowverse. He's always been, when your opponent summons something, they take damage and you heal. 4 is possible, 3 is likely. Yeah, I'm thinking 3. Thinking 2 damage that Rune can't heal up on their turn would be nice. Yeah, for sure. Like, when you think about it, 5 uninteractable damage on a big body, like, that's kind of good, right? When you think about it like that. 3.5, or yeah. I think I'm going to give it a 3. If mid-range Forest is good, this could be a really strong card in that deck. Yeah, I really like her. I'm glad that she's getting sort of... kind of a better card. I don't love this version as much as the Evolved version. I think they cooked with the Evolved version of Lymaga. Evolved, of course, is the physical game. But yeah. We go into control meta, it seems. That's what I thought at first, and then Karula was just like, die on turn 7, please. It's a 4.5 setup for Roach, possible 7 damage almost every time. 5 damage. That is true. It is possible 7 damage. That is actually kind of true. It is possible 7 damage if, like, they are able to take 4 damage and then you just ignore those followers that you locked up. That is true. We'll have to see. I'm gonna stick with 3. But it could end up being, like, really insane. You Super Evolve and select 2 more. You can you Super Evolve and select any 2. Like, it can be the same card that you locked, right? So I'm gonna go 3. Next we have Titania. A lot of people are low on this card. I might just be like coping because I want this card to be good because I really like these type of cards. 4-drop 2/2. On play, summon a fairy. Gain Crest, Titania, Queen of Fairies. And then on evolve, she's going to select the enemy file on the field and transform it into a fairy. So that's going to remove all the effects of that card, right? Because it's like, it transforms, it doesn't die or whatever. And it transforms into a fairy, and then you can easily swing over that card. So it's really good removal. And then the crest is at the start of your turn, add a fairy to your hand. Again, I really like this card. I want it to be good. But it might just end up being too slow. Again, it is removal on the evolve, and I think the effect is pretty good because you're getting a free card in your hand every turn, and after Aria, those cards are going to get Storm. They're going to be combo fodder, and of course fodder for your Garden, what was it called? Garden's Allure, right? The draw card. But it is like kind of low statted, so I don't know. I do kind of like also that she's like okay if you can't evolve her. Pretty bad, but she's not like a dead card, but that's kind of what we have the Garden's Allure for. But I feel like if you set this up, you're going to get a lot of value over the course of the game. Of course, the immediate thing is like Rose Queen. This is really good for Rose Queen because you don't have to play like actual 1 cost or hoard your fairies. You're able to just play your fairies pretty easily. And I could see Rose Queen just being like a top end of a mid-range forest, like a 1 or 2 already. So I really like this card. If it doesn't see play, I understand. But I really wanted to see play. I think I have to give it a 2. I think I have to give it a 2 to be fair, but it's a reluctant 2. It's a reluctant 2. I really want to give it higher, and it could end up being higher. It just feels really underwhelming when you see Urius be a way better version of her. Oh, for Ligma, yeah, for sure. Making Cerberus reanimate fairies, yeah, that's a funny thing. I think that'll come up not a ton, but yeah. Tech versus Haven and Abyss. Screwing the Abyss reanimate pool also, yeah. It's good. Lily can't carry force alone. Yeah, that's true. It helps a lot with these combo cards that really take a lot of combos, right? Like the Lily, Godwood Staff. You're going to really be able to draw basically every turn with Godwood Staff. It's a filled out who gives you a fairy every single turn, so say 4 fairies in there. Yeah, exactly. Only good in one deck, 2 because niche. Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 2. I think I'm going to give it a 2. Really like the design of this card, though. I really, really like this type of card. So yeah, that is Forest. Overall, I think Forest, almost god-awful bronzes and silvers, except for Fairy Fencer, who's, like, arguably a 5. And, of course, we have another 5 in the Garden's Allure. And then we have some other really interesting options in the Ligma and the Cynthia. And then, of course, a nice tech option / possibly good engine in mid-range Forest in Titania. So I think overall Forest made out pretty well. I really like what Forest is bringing. It's already a strong class, but this is how I'd like to see strong classes get, this is how I'd like to see sets for strong classes come out, right? Where it's, hey, here's a couple cards that are probably going to go in the strongest version of this class, but here's some options to go a different direction, and they're pretty competent options, and you can see what they're trying to do, right? So, yeah, I really like Forest here. I think this is one of the better sets. Obviously, it's more of the higher rarity stuff, but yeah, Fairy Fencer is, obviously Garden's Allure is the best card, but I think definitely the second best card is the Fairy Fencer. She's good into followers, like the new Abyss 6 cost, and Wilbert because it cuts. Yeah, the last words. Yeah, it completely shuts down last words. Forest had a really good set 1, though. This is just decent port. Yeah. Forest's only real problem is that it has absolutely no answer to Aether of Wardhaven. Ends up being good. Does it not? Yeah, it really doesn't. Yeah, it really doesn't. You're right. 3 is coin flip on why not option. Wait, 3 is coin flip. Yeah, I would say 3 is like kind of, mid. 4 is like, yeah, pretty like, yeah, this is good. And then 5 is like borderline broken, If you click on cards, the expansion, it's better sorted. Did they add the silvers and stuff to this already? Because when I checked earlier, they hadn't added the silvers and stuff. Oh, they did. Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you. All right. Yeah, we'll definitely use this. Yeah, because I wanted to use this, but when I checked earlier, when I was setting the stream up, this wasn't up yet. So, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, well, now we get on to Sword, obviously, one of my favorite classes. And I think there's some interesting stuff we can talk about here with Sword. Does anyone know if we're getting 10 packs, 10 or 20 packs for set 2? We're definitely getting 10. I don't know if we're getting 20. I hope we're getting 20. Because, obviously we're getting 10 from the quest, and then hopefully we get 10 from just, logging in. That'd be cool. But, yeah, then we're going to get the pre-built. Does anyone know if they've shown the pre-builts at all? Alright, let's start with Sword. Saria, Gunslinger Maid. Hold on. Oh, we're good. Okay, we're good. Saria, Gunslinger Maid, 2-drop, 2/1. And then she's going to, on play, deal 1 damage to 2 random enemy followers. That's it. It's like, it's not better than Luminous Mage. It's not better than a lot of the neutral cards, right? It's not better than Filled Out because it's a 2/1. It's not better than Hinekar because it's a 2/1. And then, like, it combos well with the 3-drop gold that we have. But that card itself is, like, not amazing. So it's like you're playing, like, kind of a bad card for another bad card to see play. This card is also horrendous late game. Horrendous late game. I think this card sucks. I don't think this card is playable. Yeah. Because we already had the issue of Samurai, right? Samurai's issue is it's terrible in the early game because it's a 2-1. It's only good in the early game if you're ahead. This card is only good if they have 1 health things on the board. And you can't even choose. I don't think this is playable. I think this is a 1. I think this is a 1. I think it's way too bad later on in the game. And we have way too many we have way too many better statted cards that are better late game. Like the Hinekar and Jafner that we just saw, right, for neutrals. I gotta give Sari a 1. I'm really sad, though. I like Sari a lot. The Gunner Maid is, like, such a funny, you know, cool concept. The Musketeer Maid, you know. Yeah, Sari, I think I gotta give a 1. Night Shadow Ninja Master, 5-drop, 4/5, Ambush. Kind of interesting card in the history of, like, aggro sword. We've seen a lot of these just stealth followers, these ambush followers, be played because they're basically kind of guaranteed damage, right? They don't say storm, but they're basically storm. Is it good in this? No, probably not, because Sword has not shown that it can be aggro. Now, maybe in that, like, Kagemitsu deck, it could be good, but I think Kagemitsu is, like, really rough now with Odin running around and another card for Portal later on running around. Yeah, I think that's interesting. Yeah, I could see it being played in some, like, really full aggro ambush deck, right? I think Sari is meant to be used with the gold. Yeah, for sure. But, like, that card's not that good either. And then also you have to make sure you draw that card, right? So, I like Prim more than her, I think. Yeah, Prim is really good. We're going to talk about her soon. So, yeah, I would say this is probably a 2. I think this is a 2. Like, leaning on 1. Thankfully, it's fully statted. But, yeah, I'm going to say 2. Lucrative Deal. 2-drop, spell in Sword. Draw 2 cards, your opponent draws a card. Worst card in the game. Worst card in the game. If this was in Rune, this would be good. Actually, if this was in Rune, this would be insane. Sword, this fucking sucks. This is unplayable garbage. This is probably the worst card in the game. Like, why would you ever want to play this in Sword? Doesn't fill the board, doesn't go to your rally count, and it's a downside. So, we do need early draw in Sword, but, like, Amelia's, like, we wouldn't play this bad of a card just because Amelia only comes out on 6, right? So this is the worst card in the game. Next, really fun card, really good card. We had a better version at Legendaries, yeah. Who knows, maybe they bring back the Spartacus WinCon. Maybe. I don't even think it'd be that good. I guess, yeah, you'd have to play that. You'd need a lot of support for Spartacus. Alright, Gelt, I just want to see this real quick. Oh, it's kind of a different design. So, Gelt, of course, is Amelia's vice captain. And they're kind of in this, like, country or whatever that has this very unique tower. Like, in all of the backgrounds of Amelia's art, you see this very unique spiral tower. But they didn't bring it over here, so maybe this is just not the same place or whatever, you know. But Gelt, very, you know, classic, like, card that goes with Amelia a lot. And this one is no different. 3-drop, 3/3. Ward, so already fully statted 3-drop ward. Really good. Like we talked about with Grimnir, Sword is kind of missing 3-drops. It has good 3-drops, but not amazing proactive 3-drops. Like, it has Valse, which is very reactive and stuff, and then Lorala, which is, like, okay, you know, like, on curve, right? And then, at the end of your turn, if there's a super evolved allied follower, Amelia, on the field, Give all allied followers on the field +1/+1. This card is nuts. This card is really strong. So obviously, on curve, it's just going to be a big ward, right? Very well-statted ward. But then if you combo it with Amelia or late game with Gildaria, you're going to be making huge boards. Himself is a ward, and he also buffs himself as well, because it says all allied followers. And then, like, if we think about Amelia, right? On 6 or 7, you go play Amelia, draw him maybe, or just have him in hand, drop him, Super Evo Amelia. This guy becomes a 4/4 ward with barrier, and Amelia becomes an 8/8. So yeah, this card is really, really strong. As a sword main, if it ain't give me tempo, I ain't playing it out of principle. I assume you're talking about the 2-cost draw, yeah, for sure. Okay, Serious talking. This is easily one of the scariest bad draw cards you can't complain about. Bad draw cards you can't complain about. Okay, Serious talking. This is. Are you talking about the 2-cost draw card or Geld? 3 not better than Grimnir? Oh, I don't know. I think this is better. I think that Gelt is better in the current sword list. I think when Grimnir comes out, I think that the sword list will change a lot. Well, I mean, obviously these are all coming out at the same time, but you know what I mean. Like, if this card was just coming out with no Grimnir, I think, or if this card came out in set 1, I think this is an easy slot in. And this is better than Grimnir, but maybe this is worse than Grimnir. Yeah, maybe this card is just, like, it's only good with, like, Amelia or another Super Evo card, but, like, the buff is so nuts. The buff is insane. It's really good with Olivia, too. One of Olivia's best targets, actually. I want to give this a 4. Casual well said, sword card with ward and not off a late game with Amelia and the new 6-cost, yeah. There's not really any space for Gelt since Sword is running Grimnir. Is there no space? I mean, you're not playing Iron Crown Ward Majesty anymore. You probably cut this for Lorala. Or, I mean, you cut Lorala for this. You don't play the dogs. I mean, the dogs sucked anyway, but... I know, but, I mean, if we have time, we'll build some decks. And probably when we get in the game, we'll build some decks, too, but... Okay, I'll give it a 3. I'll give it a 3. Yeah, I'll give it a 3. I don't want to, but I will give it a 3. I think this card is... If it's like an auto-include in Sword, you know. I don't know. Man. I feel like it's really good. I'll give it a 3, though. Yeah, I'll give it a 3. Rakir, Ordinary Knight. 4-drop, 3/3, draw a spell, Evo, recover 2 play points. Unplayable garbage. What spell are you trying to draw? Like... I mean, if the spell you're trying to draw is this, no. We do have the, like, removal spell. I know, this card just sucks. It's so understated. It's only good if you evolve to get the play points back. And then spells, you just don't want to be playing spells in Sword. Yeah, this card sucks. This is a 1. Am I missing some combo? Upper 3, yes, not 4, yeah. Lucrative deal value, yeah. The 5 damage face, maybe? Draw 11 spells? Yeah, maybe, yeah. Yeah, I guess you could draw tentacles with this, but then it's like, you're playing this, and then they're playing Anne and Gray and just stunting all over you. Like, they are Fortnite dancing all over you. Like, you play this, and then they do Anne and Gray at Evo, they're Fortnite dancing on you. Give Steward. Yeah, that's the other thing, is like, this wouldn't even be played in Rune. Yeah, this card sucks. This is 1. Band of Battle Princesses. This card I'm super, like, stoked about because this has a lot of characters from Rage of Bahamut that were never in the original Shadowverse. It'd be awesome if these characters got cards. But I do think my sort of, like, voice actor theory is dead now because we didn't We didn't get any of those cards that I was like predicting because of the voice actor, or because of certain cards were voiced that we would get this card. But if they wanted to introduce new characters and cards to Shadowverse, these would easy. But let's talk about the card. Band of Battle Princesses, 2-drop, deal 4 damage to a random enemy follower. Enhance 4, deal damage to 3 random enemy followers instead. My immediate, like, boomer reaction is like, Ivory Sword Stance question mark? It's like kind of Ivory Sword Stance. You don't get the buff, of course, but you get way more damage on 4. But again, it's like playing spells is like, you do not want to be playing spells, man. Is this spell good enough to be played in some sort of leaning control sword deck? Because we have seen control pieces, right? We have this is an insane removal spell. Urius is a really good control card. And then, of course, just like Geno is a really good control card. Gildaria is kind of a really good control card. But also, like, you know, doubles is just like, yeah. Gildaria is just an insane card. We'll get to her, of course. But, I don't know. I'm like, is this like way too good of a removal not to play? Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about Band of Battle Princesses? Actually cracked. This card's so good, I just don't know if it fits Swordcraft. A great spell to force draw for bad matchups. Yeah. One reaction for me is like 3. It's kind of competing with Val's. That's true. Sword does need wide removal, though. I guess I can draw the 2-cost spell on aggro sword with kind of good for aggro, I think. How often does it actually... 50-50, definitely playable. It's like... Because it's not different. It's not different random enemy flaws. So this auto-clears... Most of the time, this auto-clears Anna and Raina, right? So it's like, if they get 1 damage on them, this clears Anna and Raina with 1 card. Man, I want to give this like a 4. Because decks in the past, sword decks in the past have been able to play spells like this. Like, if they're really good, they've been able to play spells, you know? This also fully clears Alouette board. Wait, this fully clears the Alouette board. Is this a 4? I'm just trying to think of other, like, situations and boards. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this card's kind of fucking nuts. Better Apollo for sure. Really premium removal, maybe they will consider it depending on the meta. Yeah. Replaces Hound. Well, Hound sucked anyway, but yeah. 3.5 lets you... I'm not doing halves. It can hit the same one twice? That's how it reads, yeah. That's how it reads. Low 4. You gotta say the prior card is a 2 since it just tutors that. Yeah, I think... Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna give this a 4, and I'll give Rakir a 2. I'll give Rakir a 2. Like, I think that because he tutors a specific Insano card that you could evo and then get it off, then yeah, I think that's fine. Rakir's a 2. Bad Battle Princess is a 4. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 4. Our next card, Rose Princess Knight. This is a card I've come way down on, actually, thinking about it more. 3-drop, 3-2, rush, follow strike of the opposing follower's damage, destroy it, enhance 5 draws, Swordcraft follower that costs 2 or less and sets cost to 0. Seeing all the other cards we're getting, I just don't think it has a place. Like, this is very, similar to the card we just looked at, the Band of Battle Princesses. Because this is just basically going to be removal. Going wide low like that, low health-wise, at that turn is not good enough, right? The best thing to draw is Luminous Knight or Saria if you're playing it, but Saria is like already a bad card. So playing like Saria, which is a bad card that enables this like mediocre card, kind of makes this whole thing bad, this whole package bad. I wanted this to say Enhance 4, because I think that this card needed to be a little more play point value. Because really it's just, you're playing a 2-drop and then a 3-drop, right? But it's drawing you one of your 2-drops. But yeah, I gotta give this like a 2. I'm gonna give this a 2. I just don't think you have, I don't think you have enough room. And especially with Gelt now, who's like a 3-drop that you really want to include, that we just kind of discussed that you might not have enough space for. I'm gonna give Rose a 2. I like it. I really do like it. But yeah, I could see, yeah, good and control-wise 3, otherwise 2. Yeah, if we make like a really, really hard control deck, then for sure. Having way too many 3-drops, yeah. I think that Saria will be played regardless. Because Gildaria plus Saria plus Grim is one of the ways you can beat Aether Albert. I mean, you could just beat... Wait, can't you just beat it with Geno, Swing, Super Evo, one of the Knights? Maybe not. I haven't done like that math in my head. You're hoping for Samurai so you can clear a ward for Albert. Oh, like, and you hold the Samurai? Yeah, but it's like, that turn is so bad for you, though. Like, that pre-turn is horrendous. Or, like, that turn 5 is terrible. She's a better dog. Is she? Maybe. Dogs are pretty terrible. That card sucks. I'll always be a dog hater. But, like, at least on 6 you get 3 bodies. Rose into Rakir, into Bandit Battle. That doesn't work, though, because she only draws a 2-cost or less. I'm going to say 2. I'm going to give this a 2. I'm going to give this a 2. Yeah, I'm going to give this a 2. Prim Princess's Picnic. Like, picnic basket. 2-drop 1/1. Ambush. On play, add Nanja, Silent Maid to your hand. Super Evolve. Give all other allied followers on the field +1/+1. And then Nanja, of course, is a 2-drop 2/2 with Ward. And then on play, if there's an allied Prim Princess Picnic on the field, give the follower +1/+1 and Bane. Obviously, this card makes going second or not better than going first, but way better than it was. Or way better than going second was on Sword. And this is just exactly what I wanted in Sword, because, of course, we have the late game draw in the Amelia, but we don't have the early game resource, generation in Sword. And this card is exactly what we need. We need a card that gives us another early game play, and I think this is almost perfect. Nanja coming down and being a 3/3 ward is really nice with Bane. And then this also, with some of the other cards that we've seen so far, has some applications as an ambush creature, right? Or as an ambush follower. Obviously, Grimnir, we can super evolve this, buff everything, and then get the Grimnir proc, right? So yeah, I really, really like this card. I think this is a 4 knocking on 5. I think this is knocking on the door 5. Another thing that I like is being able to, this like as a 2-card combo going Prim, Nanja, Gelt, Super Evolve, Prim. And then you basically get a 6/6 ward, and then a 5/5 ward? 5/5 ward, 5/5 ward with Bane, and then you're hiding behind this 5/5. Did I do the math right? Yeah, 5/5 ambush. And then you get the Grimnir 2 AoE. So I just really like stuff like that, or just like having more applications for cards outside of just having the on-curve card, right? So I really like this thing. I think Prim is a 4. I think this is really good. Am I late? Has he seen the Mediocrity Dragon yet? I don't think Dragon's mediocre, but, well, I mean, maybe it is. Maybe that is. But no, we're on Sword. We are about to get to the update, but we are going to try to finish the card review before we go into the game. But, yeah, I'm going to give this a 4. Next, we have Gildaria, Anathema of Peace, 6-drop, 4/4. Fanfare, Rally 20, Super Evolve this follower. So Rally 20 kind of sounds scary at first, but when you think about even our deck that we have right now, we can get to Rally 20 pretty fast. We're actually going to be able to get to Rally 20 a couple turns after this comes down on curve, so the second and third copies of Gildaria are going to be able to Super Evolve for free. Whenever another allied follower enters the field, deal 1 damage to all enemy followers. And then when this follower evolves, so that also activates on the Rally 20 Super Evolve this follower effect, because it's when this follower evolves, not evolve, you know, do this thing, right? Summon 2 copies of Steelclad Knight and give them Rush. This card is nuts. This card does everything Sword wants to do. It, before you get the Rally 20, right, it is a, on evolve, deal 2 AoE, swing a big 6/6 into something, and then the 2/2s have rushes, so you'll really be able to clear a lot of boards. Of course, if you Super Evolve and you set up the Grimnir beforehand, this is just going to murder boards, like obliterate boards. Obelisk, obliterate, right? And then late game, it's, I love these type of designs where it's not only good if you have evolve points, right? This is going to be pretty good if you draw it in the late game, right? Once the rally is up. I think, I want to give it a 5. What do you guys think? Do you think 5 would be too much for this card? Because before, spoiler alert, but before Karula and Normand, I thought this was the best legendary. Or, well, before this and... What was the other legendary that came out that I was like, okay, maybe this isn't. But, like, especially for that first chunk of legendaries, I thought this was the best legendary. 4 damage to all cards is huge, yeah. Definitely a 5. It's a 6? I want to do 5. I think we're going to give this a 5. It does everything. It goes in every sword deck. Every sword. There's not a single sword deck you wouldn't play this in. Because even if you are never getting to Rally 20, this still is a Super Evolve with you know, even without Grimnir, but even with, you know, super, Evolve and deal AoE, you know. Yeah, I'm giving it a 5. We'll do 5. We'll do 5. Yeah, Gildaria. Really excited about this character, too. I mean, I love this design. It's really, really cool. That, like, sort of, like, Navy captain thing going on. And the coloring and stuff. Really, really cool. Excited to hear her voice lines and stuff, too. Alright, then we move on to the last sword legendary, Urius, Levin Authority. A-drop 5/7. On play, summon 2 enemy copies of Knights. Those are the 1/1s. Whenever an enemy follower enters the field, give it quotation marks. Can't attack followers or leaders. End quotation marks. Then, until the end of your opponent's turn, or sorry, until the end of your opponent's turn, period. That it should say period. Deal 1 damage to the enemy leader and restore 1 defense to your leader. That part of the effect I just read, the deal 1 damage to the enemy leader and restore 1 defense to your leader, is an effect on Urius. That is an on Urius effect. Urius does not give the 1/1s that you summoned, or anything else that your opponent summons, that effect. This is an effect that is on Urius. Deal 1 damage to the enemy leader, restore 1 defense to your leader. If you guys... a lot of people that are confused probably have never played the original game. If you guys look at all the original Uriuses, this is exactly how he's always worked, right? Albert's brother, no, it's not Albert's brother. They, you know, history will say they're friends, right? You know, you know, very like, you know, very, you know, they're friends, and then they're enemies, and then they fight, and then they make up, and then he's like, yeah, the whole story is kind of complicated, but basically he kind of gets like corrupted by this like demon stuff in the Sky Castle, which we probably won't get, but it was kind of a card that came up a lot. It was awful, unplayable in Shadowverse 1, but he's kind of like the right hand man of Albert, But yeah. History will say they're roommates. How good is this card? I think it's pretty good. Especially with a lot of this other control sword support we've seen. This is gonna lock out a lot of boards and stuff for your opponent. Of course, this is really good against something like Roach, right? They have to like pre-kill this thing with like a couple bales, but then if they do 2 bales, number one, that's asking for a lot, and then you also get 2 health, and they take 2 damage. It also locks 2 slots on their board. So in the mirror match, this is the most toxic mirror match card ever. You know, it completely cucks Amalia, right? Because like Amalia comes down and only summons 2 things, and they get locked, and you know. But yeah, this card is just really, really strong. I think that it's like, I don't think it's like a 5 or anything. I think that it's a card where it's like, play it down. Hey, can you answer this card? Nope. All right, shake my hand. If you can't answer this card, hopefully your sword deck is designed in a way where you can just go, okay, they answered it, we have a follow-up, right? And that's kind of why I like Gelt, right? Because it's like, okay, on 8 we go Urius, cool. If he lives, we win the game. If he doesn't live, they probably used a lot of resources, and then we go like Gildaria, Gelt, huge giant board, clear their board, and then we're asking for even more resources and cards out of their hand, right? Because this is at least asking for a hard removal card, which the only one we really have right now is like an Odin, which is a lot of mana, or a Divine Thunder, right? Or it's asking them to just play into it, which is almost impossible. Yeah, I think this card's really strong. I'm gonna give this a 4. I don't think it's like an auto-include in every sword deck like Gildaria is, but I do think it's really strong. Is it a win more card? Like if your opponent has any board, you just play to 5/7. Well, you can evolve into it. Well, see why? Watch. Like now that we have Grimnir, right? You could super evolve this guy, clear 1 big thing, and then do 2 AOE to the rest of the stuff, right? It's been a while since I played Ridge Rabbit, so I don't recall Allure. Yeah. It not needing to Evo is massive. Exactly. Yeah. This literally auto kills puppets and artifacts. Well, artifacts does have the gun or the bullet, right? Bullet from beyond. And you, like, you know, you might just die before this comes down against Artifact. Sword of Sword just throwing Urius at each other, yeah. What I like about this game is it's a fanfare card you don't need to evolve or super evolve, so may give him 4, but damn it, wins more. Yeah. I think 4. I think I'm going to give it a 4. I would have given it a 3 if we didn't see even more cards that were, like, pretty control-oriented, like this card, Gelt a little bit too, stuff like that. Obviously, Grimnir makes this card even better. So yeah, I'm gonna give Urius a 4. Overall, Sword, really like it, actually. I think Sword is got a really strong set here. Bronzes suck. Bronzes are like almost unplayable except for maybe Ninja Master and some weird decks. But then the silvers are really interesting. We got the Gelt, which is just a good 3-drop, and then we have this interesting package of the Rakir and the Band of Battle Princesses. I do think the Band of Battle Princess is like might actually just end up being like really, really good. And then of course Rakir draws it if we're playing like a full control deck. Of course, Prim is a really strong gold, and the 2 legendaries are really strong. Any of the 2 legendaries, if you pull them, is pretty good. Now we move on to Rune. Rune, our goal for Rune was get Earthright playable, right? Did we do that? Yes, but in a weird way, right? So let's get into it. I think Band of Battle Princess will be played, just gut feeling. Yeah, same. Odin stops it, right? Does Fanfare activate before it hits the field? Yeah, Fanfare activates before it hits the field. Yeah. Alright, Melvie Adoring Witch. 2-drop, 2/2, so fighter stats, right? Add a Witch's New Brew to your hand. If there's a super evolved allied file on the field, gain 2 Earth Sigils. This card is nuts. So Witch's Brew is already like one of the best dirt cards because it's a 1-drop draw card, and then it's Earth Sigil, so you get to start pumping the Earth Sigils up. But then this is a 2-drop 2/2 that gives you one of the best cards in the game already. Fully stat 2-drop, and it has an interesting application later on that probably won't come up much. But I really like this card for dirt. But again, dirt's like, I don't know. Rune is my favorite problematic bestie. That's an amazing way to describe Rune. Honestly, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, this is strong consistency. Yeah, I really like this card. Melvi, I think there's just an easy, 3. Because it's a really strong card in a borderline unplayable deck. And it did get some support, right? Did get some support, but the support it got was like, oh, you probably just flash this in spell boost, right? So I am going to give this a 3. I see some people saying 4 in the chat. I think I'm going to give this a 3 just because I think Earthrise is just not good enough yet. But in its deck, it's a... in its deck, it's might be a 5. Yeah, in its deck, it's way stronger. But I think overall, I think this card is just... the deck is not good. Because you can't play this in spell boost, Next is Arcane Archivist. 2-drop 2/2. Select a card in your hand and return it to the deck. Draw a spell. Just what Rune needed is more consistency. Unironically, it did. But it's the thing about Rune is its power level is way too, really high, but its consistency is really low. So having cards like this is, that make it even more consistent, I think is actually good, because then it's okay, well, now the win rate of Rune is, fucking 80% or whatever. Not right now, but, say after, a consistent card like this. And then, okay, we just gotta ban it, right? Or nerf it. I do like this card. I do think it's pretty good. Will it even see play? Probably not, because you'd rather just play good cards, and you'd rather just draw well than have a card that kind of fixes your draw. If you ever play Ruby, you're playing this card instead of Ruby, though, for sure. So yeah. Well, let me give it... I'll say I'm gonna give it a 2. I think I'm gonna give it 2. Rune Ruby. Yeah, exactly. Do I jam on that keyboard behind you? As a kid, I did. I don't really remember how to play much anymore. But yeah, as a kid, I did. I actually got that... I think I got it for my 4th birthday. It's really old. It kind of doesn't work anymore either. When I turn it on, there's this weird sound it makes. But yeah, I definitely did play it as a kid. I got it when I was 4, I think. Maybe 5. Yeah, it's a 2. Arcane Archivist, 2. Glacial Crash, 4-drop. Select an enemy fall on the field and destroy it. Earthright 1, deal 2 damage to enemy leader. I kind of like this card, actually, because, if Earthright is a controlled deck, which I think it is, I think that's the only way it can exist. Having a 4-drop kill and then also you just deal damage is kind of nice. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's still a 2 though. I think this is still a 2. It's a 1 if it didn't have the Earthright effect, right? But then why would they print this? Is it better than Ruby? Don't you want to draw your minions on Rune? Well, I think it's better than Ruby because it lets you have a smaller pool of cards that you can get. So it's yeah, most of your minions are better, or most of your followers are better than the spells. But having a card that's hey, here's a card where it can only draw me 1 of 5 cards, and I know which 5 cards, right? So yeah. This card I'm going to give it 2. I like this in Earthright, but again, we just talked about Earthright's not that amazing of a card. We appreciate this as a hard removal card with bonus. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to give this 2. Burgent, Rejected Artes. I love Burgent. Burgent's story is so funny. She's the onion mage, basically. She has all these onion patch people. They're onions that become people, and then she stumbles upon 3 of these extremely powerful beings of the world, and she's just funny. She's kind of like a failure, what do they call it? Fail, whatever. She's funny though. She's really funny. I like Virgin a lot. 5-drop 4/4. Summon 2 copies of Onion Patch. Evolve. Gain Crest. Burgent. Rejected Arts. At the start of your turn, summon an Onion Patch. Onion Patch is a 1-drop 1/1. Rush. Spell boost or strike. Spell boost your hand. How good is this card? It's kind of interesting. I think the issue with this, the issue with this is it comes down on the same turn that another card that exists comes down for Rune, Anna and Greya, right? So I really like this for Take 2, actually. And I do think there's a universe where, like, if Anna and Greya got nerfed or something, that you could play this, because when you think about it, it's you basically get every turn 1 damage on the board and 1 spell boost for the rest of the game, which is, like, kind of not bad. And especially it kind of helps if you kind of low roll, right? And it's like, hey, I'm drawing into a lot of my spell boosts later on. So yeah, I kind of like this. Honestly, this is kind of a hot take, kind of like out there, but is this card okay in some sort of Earthright spell boost hybrid where it's mostly Earthright and a couple spell boost cards, and then every turn you just get a 1 rusher that spell boosts your hand a little bit, and then the cards you're playing that are spell boosts are like your Wind Blast, which are removal, maybe a D-Shift as a win condition, a William as like an AoE option, right? Stuff like that, maybe. I'm gonna give this a 3. Game is live now. Okay, do you guys want me to, like, finish this in-game? Or what should we do? Should we finish this on here? I kind of want to finish this on here and then get to the game, but it's up to you guys. You can do it now and still discuss it. Oh, there's an update. Okay, yeah, we'll go into the update. Is the game not coming up? Oh, I have this over the game. Okay. Sorry if that was loud. Yeah, 5. Okay. Yeah, we'll finish the review here. Probably will be, you know, we'll probably get through this quick, and then we can actually play the game, right? 3 is fair. On here, my in-game, you don't have the cards yet. No, yeah. Let's finish here. Yeah, we'll do that. All right, Burgent. I'm gonna give it a 3. I like this card a lot. I love her. I think she's really funny. Hopefully that means we get. I'm blanking on their names, but it's the Ragna. It's the Awakened Ragna card characters from Portal, from the first game. All right, next card. Enchanting Perfumer, 4-drop 3/3. Select nobody fall on the field and deal it 3 damage. Gain Earthright Sigil. On evolve, replicate the effects of this card, Fanfare's ability. This card just sucks. I mean, like, because the Owl does 5 on play, right? The Owl Knight or whatever his name is. The Owl Mage. Girl Failure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what Virgin. Yeah. That's what Virgin is. Yo, Julie, you the GOAT. Thank you for the reviews. Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm glad. It was really awesome to hit 1,000 subscribers. That was really, really cool. And I'm happy people are just, like, you know, enjoying the content, enjoying the game, enjoying the videos, and yeah. Thanks for being here. We have 120 people watching, which is really, really, really cool. And yeah, of course, if you guys are gonna, like, miss any of these reviews or whatever, I'm gonna upload this full part of this stream, yeah, just on YouTube. So if you miss anything, we can, you know, don't worry. Oh, my friend. Oh, look at my man. Oh wait, can you send the screenshots of the actual decks? Yeah, if you could send us screenshots of the actual decks, that'd be awesome. Yeah, anyway, Enchanting Perfumer. I think this card sucks. 4-drop 3/3 is way too bad. It only does 3 damage. You do gain an Earth Sigil, but I don't know how good. I don't think this card's that. I don't think this card's that good. I'm gonna give this a 1. I think you have way better Earthright stuff. And Earthright's issue is not this. Earthright's issue is draw. Is card draw. And kind of like end game, right? But you can kind of get away with the end game with like Kuan and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna give this a 1. I think the update server crash. Oh, great. All right, Flames of Chaos, Flames of Chaos. 3-drop spell. X starts at 0. On spell boost, increase X by 1. Deal X damage split between all enemy followers. And that's the effect. So split damage, of course, is like how Glade works, where it's starts on the left side and it goes, you know. At one point, this translation said all damage, or all enemy followers, not split, which then I was like, okay, spell boost, all right. Who's the fanboy? Who's the Daria fanboy over there at Side Games? But this card's like, I'm going to give this card a 2. I think that it will see play at some point, I think. And it's not a bad card. But you just have so many better options. The other issue with this card is it's terrible in the early game. It's only good in the late game. But then by the late game, hopefully you're having your Williams and some of your other cards to deal with the board. So yeah, I don't know. And then even after D-Shift, this is still only dealing 5 damage to something. So yeah, I think that it's a little too slow. It's a decent play going second, I'd say. On the Flames of Chaos. I mean, going second. Or do you mean the Enchanting Perfumer? Maybe the I don't know. Going second. I think it's fine. Doesn't Earthride have better stuff? Oh, the Giant Chimera, yeah. No, I think this card's going second. What do you do going second? You go, what does going second do for this card? Because like you don't get any extra spell boost going second. Yeah, I think if William didn't exist, I think this card would be played, right? But yeah, it's okay. Might be like a tech 1 or 2 of, but I'm gonna give this a 2. Next card, my goat, my man, Owen. He is of course Anne's bodyguard. I love Owen. I've always loved Owen. He's probably one of my favorite male characters. 3-drop 3/3. Ward Kalash, spell boost your hand. On evolve, draw 2 followers. This card does everything. Fully stat 3-drop, which is an issue that Spellboost had, right? Spellboost could get really out aggroed. Its turns 1-2 before you can play Anne and Greya are just not good. Like you can get really ran over. I really like this because it lets you have another turn 3 play that's not just drawing 2 cards. Because against a lot of decks, that's kind of too slow, right? The fact that he's Ward 2 really helps against a lot of your like maybe worse matchups, or worser is not a word, but like matchups and like Roach and stuff like that. Yeah, I think this card's insane. It's gonna mostly, I think, be played on curve, and then if you miss Anne and Greya, he's gonna be able to Evo and draw some of your followers that are really strong, right? We have Kuan. We have another card we're going to talk about here soon. He can draw himself, which is a little like, right? And then, of course, Anne and Greya and stuff. But yeah, this card is really, really, really nuts. Oh, I meant that for the Earthright card going second, you just Evo on 4 or 5. Yeah, I will say, like, if I'm wrong about the Enchanting Perfumer, it's just because I don't have a lot of experience with Earthright. So, if it does end up getting played and it is really good, that's my bad, I think. But I am gonna say I think the Enchanting Perfumer is a 1 for now. Owen, though, I think it's gotta be. Did y'all hear that? Some leftover fireworks? That was weird. Yeah, 1/1 Tatum. Yo, Puppet. Yo, seriously though, like there's gonna be some board states where you're going to be able to get 3 spell boosts from this guy, and then Anne and Greya is going to come down and just completely shit out your hand. So yeah, I think this card's really good. I'm going to give it a 4. I'm only not giving it a 5 because there's another rune card that's coming up that probably is going to get a 5. Next card, Pascal's Dance. Poor Pascal, man. Pascal is just like, she's such a cool design, but man, she's always bad. They always make her bad. 2-drop, gain an Earth Sigil. Gain Crest Pascal's Dance. The crest is countdown 1. At the end of your turn, draw a card. Earthright 10. Double the attack and defense of all allied followers on the field. Yeah. Kind of interesting. I do think, thinking about it more and seeing our other Earthright card that we'll talk about, I do think this is, like, not the worst thing in the world. It's just really hard to get to 10. Like, 10 is a lot. But I do think this is a really nice card in Earthright. It gives you Earth Sigil, it draws you a card, and then it has some late-game application. But, yeah, I don't know. I think this is on the weaker side. I think you gotta go 2. I think I gotta give this a 2. Doubling attack at the end of turn is just never good because you can never capitalize on the fact that you're doubling in the attack, you know? Give her 3 more expansions, she'll be top tier. I can see that. I can see that. If we ever get like a generate 10 Earth Sigils on a 3-drop or something, right? Something like that. And again, like Norman coming... Like, if you can get Norman down, get the 2 Shield Guardians, and then double the attack, then we're like balling. Then we are balling. I just don't think that's going to happen. Because you need 11, right? You need 11 because you go play this, Norman, and then you'd be at 10. Because you go 11, play this, you go to 12, and then Norman takes 2. Imagine spending all your resources to double your board and then it gets Felined. Exactly, yeah. But I think this is just like a good card in Earthright because it draws you a card and it does Earth Sigil. So, yeah. Next card. Little Anthem, Anathema of Edacity, 8-drop 5/5 Aura. Oh, sorry. I didn't give this a rate. Did I get... I gave Owen a rating. Yeah, sorry. I didn't give Pascal's Dance a rating. I'm going to give it a 2. I'm going to give it a 2. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 2. I did get Gil from the Swordcraft pack, 3 copies of the Princess, 1 Gelt, 1 Prim, 1 Rose, 3 Saria, and 3 Night Shadow. 3 copies of the Princess. Oh, wait, which Princess? The spell, yeah. So 1 Gelt, 1 Prim. Okay, that's pretty good. 1 Rose, 3 Saria, and 3... Okay, that's interesting, yeah. Lil Anthem, 8-drop 5/5 Aura. Last words, Earthright 2, summon a Lil Anthem, Anathema of Edacity. Super Evolve, select 2 enemy followers on the field and destroy them. This card basically never dies if you're playing Earthright, right? Because it keeps coming back, and then it has Aura, so it can't be, like, banished or whatever. I wish this was a 7 cost. I think 8 is a little too late. Again, if Earthright Rune is a hard control deck, which maybe it is, maybe it can play like that, then I think this card is good. This is sort of like a Lapis a little bit, right? Because it just can never die. Its Super Evolve effect is really strong, killing 2 things, and then probably killing a 3rd thing. And then, of course, you can kind of look at it as this, like, 8/8 after you Super Evolve, right? And then it, if it dies, you get it back, which is pretty good, and then you can Super Evolve again, if you're able to, like, save all your Super Evolves until then, right? I know, I kind of like it. I kind of like this card. I just think it comes down too late. But maybe Rune can get there. Maybe Earthright Rune can survive long enough to get there. I think I'm going to give this a 2. I think I'm going to give this a 2. Yeah, I think I'm going to give Little Anthem a 2. I don't think it's, like, unplayable, but I could see it just never seeing play because it's too slow. Rune Mordecai. Yeah, it's Rune Mordecai, yeah. I really like this card, though. I do really like this card. Should I spend my vials before pulling the new set to get dupes I can liquefy? No. I think almost always open first. Open first, then see what you want to craft, right? Yeah, I would say open first, then see what you want to craft. Next card, Norman Adamant Alchemist, 6-drop 5/5, Earthright 1, select a mode to activate. 1, summon a Guardian Golem and give it Barrier. Guardian Golems are the 3-drop 3/3 with wards. So it'll be a 3/3 with ward and Barrier. 2, draw 3 cards. And then 3, restore 4 defense to your leader. And then on evolve, you replicate the effects of this card's fanfare ability. This is a 5. This is going to be a 5. I think this is actually a very... Thinking about it more, I think this is going to be a very meta-warping card. Yeah, the GOAT is here. Yeah. All of his effects are insane. The ability to do like anything on this card is really nice. The fact that you get two procs of it, and you can choose which procs to do is really nice. If you need to draw 3 cards and summon a barrier, you got it. If you need to draw 3 cards and heal yourself, you got it. If you need to heal 8, you got it. If you need to heal, or if you need to summon 2 guardian golems with barrier and then play Pascal's Dance, you got it, right? And then, yeah, I think this card's really, really, really strong. What's up, Akamaru Red? How's it going? Thanks for dropping by. This is a great card to play before Declimb 2. Yeah, exactly. You can evolve after you play Declimb and draw again. Yeah, exactly. This card's just extremely flexible. This is one of the best, like, most flexible cards we've seen in this game, at least right now. And yeah, but, you know, like we kind of hinted at, it's probably gonna be played in Spell Boost. Is it gonna help Earthright? For sure. It's probably automatically becomes the best Earthright card. And it will help Earthright a lot. But this is just going to be slapped into Spell Boost because the cost is so low. It's only 1 Earthright, right? And a lot of decks are already playing the Witch's Cauldron to draw early. And then you just pay 1 more at some point in the game to get 2 stacks. And you play this guy and evolve, and yeah, you get whatever effects you want, you know? And yeah, that's a good point about like playing him before D-Shift and then him living and then evolving, right? So yeah, I think this card is really nice. I think this card is really, really, really strong. I think I'm going to give this a 5. So far we have, what, 3 5s? 1 for each class, which is nice. So yeah, that is Rune. I think Rune got a really good set here. It was already one of the best classes. I think highlights, of course, are Norman and Owen. But I do think it got enough Earthright support for it to be maybe playable. Will it ever be better than Spell Boost? Probably not. But it might be interesting if it has different matchups compared to Spell Boost in terms of like what it's good against. Because then maybe it could be a good tournament deck where it's like, hey, there's Runecraft. And it's like, oh no, I'm Earthright, right? You know, that could be interesting, but we'll have to see. I'm really interested to see what Earthright can do, because we know what Spell Boost can do. Like, and all of Spell Boost support here is just like really good, really, you know, basic good cards. So yeah, love that. You put in the Spell Boost, you play the Cauldron. He doesn't need to live. You play him, declimb, and then you can evolve him to get an 8-card hand again. Yeah. And Norman and Kuan seem a fair curve. Yeah, that seems fair. Yeah. Oh, yeah, all at the same turn. Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yeah. Because that helps free some board by destroying the sigils, and being able to Kuan on the same turn is great. Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, you play him, declimb, Cocytus, then draw. Yeah, that's, that... yeah. This card is obviously just nuts in Spell Boost. This card's obviously just nuts in Spell Boost. Is he the best card in the expansion? No, let's get to Karula and then we'll talk about it, but he could be. I do want to stop down here because my friend did send screenshots of all of the trial decks, and I kind of wanted to talk about them here. Just because I know there's people going into the game right now. I can't see how many counts of these cards are in here, but I don't think it'll matter. So here's Forest. The cards we care about are, of course, the new like higher rarity cards. So you get 1 Titania. That's pretty good. I mean, I'd rather get the... Well, I guess I'd rather get Ligma. You get 1 of the Gold Spell, 1 of the Cynthia. You do get 2 Is that 2 Bales or 3? I think that's 2, right? Yeah, the 2 Bales, 2 Roaches. So this is actually a pretty good, like, if you're just starting and you want to play Roach, this might not be a bad thing to pick up. The Bales and the Roaches are kind of nice. But of course, it's gold. You kind of want legendary value, right? Sword here. Is this coming up on the... Yeah, this is, okay. Oh, I'm blocking Sword here. It's the cards we're looking at. 1 Prim, 1 Rose, 2 Vals, and 2 Zirconias, which is kind of nice. 1 Amelia. Do you get do you think you get the emblem with Amelia? Because I never got the emblem. I'm covering up 1 Gildaria as well. So this is a pretty good one, because you get 1 Prim and 1 Gildaria and 1 Amelia, who's a really good legendary, right? But, yeah, this one's okay. This one's okay. Next is Dragon. This is not the right order, but that's okay. Or, I mean, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it literally doesn't matter. Dragon is, let's see, what are the new cards? So you get the Fenny, so that sucks. Burn Knight's okay. Neptune's pretty good. And then Draconic Strike sucks. So you do get 2 Twilight Dragons. I assume 1... Is it 8, wait, so 3, 4, 5, 6. So you get 2 Genesis Dragons? That's not bad. The golds are not bad. Or, the golds aren't terrible here. And Burn Knight's okay, but Fenny, of course, is, like, not good. Right now, at least, it's not good. Wardhaven. Oh, you get Hinekar and Jafter. That's interesting. Oh, this isn't even Wardhaven. This is, like... What is this? This is, like... Wait, what is this? This is, like... Because you get Agnes and Wilbert. And Saleif is really sick. Saleif is a good pick here. And then Hinekar and Jafner. This one's kind of weird. If you're looking to play Control Haven, this one's okay, right? You get the Salefa. Agnes is really strong in that deck, too. Abyss. Oh, you get a Cerberus and Gensetsu? Whoa. Cerberus and Gensetsu. Everything else is, like, not that good. Laura's like, Excel's like, Ceres is okay. And then Orthros is good. But Cerberus and Gensetsu, that's kind of a steal. That's pretty good. And then, oh, Rune. Okay, here we go. So you get 1 Lilanthem, you get 1 Kuon, 1 Owen, 2 Edelweiss, 1 Pascal Dance, 1 Penelope, or 2 Penelopes. This is good if you want to build Earthright. These are, like, all of the good Earthright cards. Obviously, you know, all of these you need multiple copies of the legendaries and stuff, but pretty good starting point for Earthright, I would say. I like this one. Is that it? So we got Sword, Rune, Forest, Dragon, Abyss, Haven. Oh, the Portal one. If you could send me the Portal one, that'd be great too. But yeah, those are the starter decks. I would say I'd say they're all pretty equal except like the Dragon. The Haven one's a little weird. Let's see. The sword cards are very strong. Yeah, I think the sword cards are really good too. There'll be missions that reward tickets similar to the what is the silver 2/2 for Forest? The silver 2/2 is the Fairy Fencer. It's the 2-drop 2. What the hell? It's the 2-drop 2/2, and then it gives you a fairy, and then whenever you super evolve, it gets set to 1 in your hand, which is kind of nice. I actually really like this card. Yeah, all right. Let's get to Dragon. This deck ain't that good. This one gives you 2 really good legendaries. Yeah. Oh, just sent Portal. Okay, yeah. Let's see Portal. Thank you, Mr. Mexican. 1 Orcus, 1 Zwei. Oh, this is a good one. This is a pretty good one. I mean, I don't know how good puppets will end up being, but if you want to play puppets, you get the 2 Sylvias too. 2 Divine Thunder is like kind of rough. I would have rather seen like I don't know what else. I guess. I mean, just more Hinekars, like maybe a second Synchronous Hearts, and then another Hinekar or something, maybe. This one's pretty good if you want to play puppets, though, which I do want to play puppets, so you might do that. But yeah, those are the starter decks. Once we get in the game, we'll like really talk about like which ones are good and stuff. But yeah. All right, Dragon. Dragon is interesting here. Let's start with the Wise Guardian Dragon. Orcus is crazy. If you miss Orcus, take this. Yeah. We have a pack that gives you 3 premium intent Dragon New Princess in a single pack. Yeah. I'm picking up this one. I feel them out. Swordcraft, I got everything already. Yeah. I need all the Swordcraft ones, I think. Yeah, Sword is a pretty good one. Amelia and Gildaria are both really good cards. Wise Guardian Dragon. 10 drop, activates in your hand. Whenever an allied follower super evolves, reduce the cost of this card by 3. And then on play, you summon a Vastwing Dragon. Vastwing Dragon, of course, is the Intimidate. Let me take a drink of water real quick. Alright. So, this card's kind of interesting, but I think overall it's, like, not good enough. It's either not good enough or this card's, like, nuts with Olivia. Because obviously, you know, Olivia can charge this down by 6, and then this is a 4-drop 4/4 that summons a 5/5 Intimidate, which is kind of nice, but I don't know. This is so draw dependent. You have to draw this early, or at least before your super evolves. And the actual effect is not that amazing, and you already have the one guy, the 6-drop, that summons a 5/5 Vast Wing, so I'm not sure. Oh, is it Goblin now? I was looking for 1-drop other than the one that fills your hand in Portal. Yeah. There's a Goblin. He's kind of interesting. He's not a 1/2, but the effect is pretty interesting. I don't have Amelia Sword as a perfect ad for me. Nice. Serious question. Carnelia can summon mech? Summon? No, Carnelia doesn't summon anything. Oh, whoa, wait. You mean like with this? No. Fine. Wait, what do you mean by Carnelia can summon mech? Anyway, this card I think I'm gonna give Dragon Fenny is a spell boost deck now. Yeah, you need a Super Evolve twice to be better than an already existing one. Yeah, I think this is a 1. I don't think it's playable. Maybe it's okay in no, it's probably still bad in Take 2. Yeah, I think this is a 1. Soaring Ivory Dragon. 1-drop 1/1. Fanfare if you're in Overflow. Draw a card, and it's Rush. Kind of interesting card. We're going to see another card draw, I think, literally next, that I think is better. Carnelia is worded that it lets you just dupe a second mech in hand. Hold on. I don't think it dupes it, right? Wait, what card are you talking about? Because Carnelia is the one that gives it ward and can't be destroyed by abilities. What are we giving? Soaring Ivory Dragon. I think it's like kind of interesting, but we already have another card here that's going to do something similar in a second that I think is better in Aggro Dragon, which is probably the only place you'd play this, because it's just kind of a cycle, right? And that 1-drop 1/1 Rush is like not that amazing anyway, so I'm gonna give this a 1, but I think it's like, I wish it was just a Goblin, like a 1-drop 1/2 with Rush, and then, but maybe that'd be too broken. That would definitely be too broken, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's a 1. Call of the Megalorca. So I did kind of mention a card like this from the original game, where it was like a Megalorca, and then if you paid 4, you summon 2, and then if you paid 6, you summon 3, and stuff like that. But this is a little bit different. Summon a Majestic Megalorca. That's the 2/2 with Rush. If you're in Overflow, draw a Call of the Megalorca. So it's a 2-drop. Summon a 2/2 with Rush, and then if you're in Overflow, you draw the Megalorca again. Kind of interesting, actually. We're going to see Neptune here in a second, but we are going to be wanting to have a bunch of Megalorcas because they are marine followers. Another marine follower is the Odahime's Bodyguard, and Neptune's going to heal us every time we get a marine card on our field. So having more cards that summon these Megalorcas that are pretty competent, right? They're 2-drop 2/2s with Rushes is kind of nice. I think you can kind of just think of this as a fighter, right? That has Rush, which is pretty good. I don't know if this would go, like, which version of Dragon this specifically would go into, but maybe you could do some sort of balance of, like, aggro and ramp and play cards like this. So I really like this. I'm pretty sure this is, like, I'm almost positive this draws it from your deck and doesn't just draw it from the Abyss, right? Because if it drew it from, like, the Aether, it would say put a Call of the Megalorca to your hand, or put a copy of Call of the Megalorca to your hand, so... I kind of want to give this a 3. Rush is great for Feline. Yeah. That's actually true. That's actually very true. Yeah. I can't repeat. Oh, yeah. Better for Ram Dragon Fenny. New 1 playbook spell for Forest is so good, too. I was hoping for cheaper spells to use in Forest. Yeah. The heal from Neptune is relevant for Ramp. Yeah, I think Neptune, and we're going to get a couple more... marine cards here, but I think you're going to be healing a lot from Neptune, which is an issue Dragon had. Dragon's issues were healing and drawing, and we definitely fixed one of those issues with this set. So Megalorca, I'm going to give 3. I'm going to give Call the Megalorca a 3. Then we get to a really interesting card. Intent Dragonute Princess. 2-drop, 2/2. Fanfare, if there's a super evolved allied follower on the field, draw 2 cards. I think this card is insane for aggro dragon. It's a fighter, so it's just going to be an on-curve 2-drop, right? And then in the late game, it's going to be, hand refill, because you really need that. And you can, you're going to want to be super evolving a lot of this stuff already, a lot of your storm guys. And this just lets you add a couple card draw, to it and draw deeper into your face damage and stuff, right? Including the shark and, of course, all of your other storm stuff. And we got a new storm guy in Odin already, right? So I think aggro dragon's, like, not too bad. Neptune curves the Fenny. 2 Neptune controls the board very well. That's true. That's true. I feel Call of the Megalorca does a better job for aggro. No, I think so. I want a mission to make Fenny good because of pressure boulder. I know, yeah. I'm pretty down on Fenny, and we'll get to her in a second. But if it works, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. I could see it. If you believe in it, I'm a believer too. You know, if you prove it and you show me, like, I'll be like, you got it, because it is a strong effect. Like, having the cost of every card in your deck is a strong effect. This is a card that would go right into it, right? A 2-drop 2/2 that draws 2. See, I don't know. Maybe Fenny's, like, broken. Maybe Fenny ends up just being broken. Yeah, this card, I'm leaning 4, but maybe that's too high. I'm leaning 4, but maybe that's too high. What do you guys think? Kind of want to give it a 4, but if it's a 3, it's like, okay, that's fine. I guess we'll go 3. We'll go 3 on Intent Dragon and Princess. Yeah, I'm going to give this a 3. I think it's a really strong in aggro, though. And if Fenny exists, then it's really strong in Fenny. Seasoned Merman. 5-drop, 3/3. Fanfare, summon 2 copies of Majestic Megalorca. On evolve, summon a Majestic Megalorca. This card's actually does a lot for you, right? So early on, it's going to be a 5-drop that summons 2 Majestic, 2/2s with Rush. And then he actually does clear an Ann and Grea board, right? Because you can go play him, Evo, and you can swing him into the ward, and then your 3 guys into the Ann and Grea. And obviously, hopefully, some of those, you can kind of spread that damage a little bit better, because hopefully they took either Ann and Grea and the shield took damage at some point, right, on that turn. But if not, you can still clear it pretty easily. And then, of course, after Neptune, you're getting even more removal, right? And then even more heal from Neptune's effect, which we'll talk about here soon. But I do kind of like this card, actually. I think it only would go in this Neptune deck, and I think it's only good once you hit Neptune. But the Orcas have Rush. Yeah, the Orcas have Rush, yeah. Orcas do have Rush. My Dragon definitely must see. I definitely want to see what you're cooking up for Dragon. I definitely want to see what you're cooking up for Dragon. So many fish guys. Can anyone else get in the game? I don't know if I'm in the game or not. Oh, I am in the game. I am in the game. Okay. Just got home from work. Did I miss a good chunk? You missed the first 3 classes, but again, I'm going to be uploading this to YouTube, and also you can just scroll back in the stream at some point. But I will be uploading this whole section of the stream to YouTube, so everyone can watch the card review and stuff like that. So you missed, like, Rune, Sword, and Force, and Neutrals. But of course, we can go back, later or whatever. But yeah, glad you're here though. How's it going? So yeah, Seasoned Merman. I'm gonna give it a 3. Is that too high? Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm gonna give it a 3. In-game premium Feline. We take those. Oh, you got the feet ticket. Interesting. We need Isla to just be overpowered. Yeah. Next card. This card is interesting. Pyreworm Blade. In 1-drop amulet, engage 1, destroy this card, select an allied file on the field and give it +1/+1, and then last word, summon a Pyreworm Blade. This is such an interesting card for aggro dragon. It's a 1-drop, so it's an early game playable card, right? And then you basically equip this to one of your things for 1, and it gets +1/+1. And then when the thing dies, you get it back, right? So you can keep equipping it to other things. I think this is actually going to make Aggro Dragon really nice and really strong. Being able to equip this to all of your Storm stuff, right, for 1 extra play point. And you always just have this thing on the board that's pay 1, buff 1 of your things by +1/+1. I think this is actually one of the stronger dragon cards we've seen. This supports, you know, the best dragon archetype that we have right now, at least before set 2, right? It was definitely Aggro Dragon. And you just think of, like, a lot of the stuff you can do with this is really good. Forte, buff this, and then if Forte lives, you buff it again. But if Forte lives, you probably win the game anyway, right? But yeah, I think this card's actually, like, really, really good. A playable, like, a turn 1 play that's good is kind of rare, right? Class, I don't care about Pog. Yeah. If you get to Heal 4 from this, is huge, yeah. I got the feet ticket. Everyone's getting tickets. Everyone's getting tickets. Doing that's good. Such a cool card. I think it's so good. Yeah, I think this is good. Where's my goddamn ramp? Seems like the second decks have 6 total golds this time around and 2 legendaries. Oh, that's good, yeah. Why? I'm going to give this a 4. Is that too high? What do you guys think about a 4? I think I'm going to give this a 4. Yeah, I think I'm going to give this a 4. Really good Aggro Dragon. You know, turn 1 play. Probably once he play in ramp. But yeah, I like it. I'm going to give this a 4. Here we go. Neptune, Arbiter of the Tides. 7-drop, 5/5. On play, gain Crest, Neptune. Summon 2 Majestic Megalorcas. And those are the 2/2s of rushes. Ward, and then on Super Evolve, you summon another 2 Majestic Megalorcas. And then the Crest is whenever an allied Marine follower enters the field, restore 1 defense to your leader. And of course, the Marine followers are the Megalorcas and the Odahime's bodyguards. So this card, you know, kind of gives vibes of Poseidon, right? But it's kind of different, and you gain Rush, right? So the ward is on the big body, and then you gain a ton of copies of these 2/2 rushes. They're really going to help clear the board out. It's also going to come down hopefully early if you hit a couple ramps. So it's kind of hard to say like which board this card will answer, like we can kind of do with other 5-drops, right? But I really like this card. I think it's really good. And healing 1 every time you get a Megalorca, which the Megalorca is already a pretty good card, is really nice. It adds the healing that Ramp Dragon needed. And yeah, this card does everything that Dragon needed. It's also on a nice turn where it's not too late. It's not like an 8 or 9 or 10 drop. But I think 7-drop is a nice spot for it to be in. We already have another really good card in Burnout, or 7-drop, sorry. We already have another good 7 cost in Burnite, and I think this one slots right in there as well. Yeah, this card's just really good. I'm going to give this a 4. I'm going to cry, legit. All of the new decks have a 4th copy of all my Legend except for Sword, which happens to have 0 Oh, no, yeah. That's unfortunate. At least you'll get Dust if you want to get some Dust, right? Yeah, I'm going to give Neptune a 4. I think this card's really good, though. If Ramp is good, it's probably because of this card. Yeah, I'm going to give this a 4. Neptune, Arbiter of the Tides. Next card, Draconic Strike. 6-cost spell. Select a card in your hand and reduce its cost by 2. Deal 3 damage to all enemy followers. Alright. So there's 2 universes. The one universe is this is a 1 because Fenny sucks. And this card is just not good. The other universe is Fenny is actually busted, and this card's like a 5, because you can get Fenny early, and then you just start that whole, you know, cycle really early. I'm leaning more into Universe 1, but who knows, you know. I think this is a 1. I'm going to give this a 1. If Fenny's really good, this card's, like, higher. I don't think Fenny's really good. But maybe it is. I'd love to see it. I can't wait to see your reaction to Artifact Catapult. I did see that card already, but we will talk about that for sure. Yeah, I'm going to give this a 1, but I could be wrong. All right, Feline, We're not going to click the alternate art. I'm sure a lot of you guys would want to see it. 2-drop 2/2. Feline, White Frost Bloom. She's a 2-drop 2/2 with Bane. Fanfare. If you're an Overflow, add a White Frost Whisper to your hand. On evolve, deal 1 damage to all enemy followers. The White Frost Whisper is a 3 cost. Select the mode to activate. Destroy all damaged enemy followers. And then 2, increase the cost of all cards in your opponent's hand by 1 until the end of their turn. This card is so flexible, kind of like what we talked about with Norman. Because you can either use this as removal. Obviously, you can just use this as a 2-drop 2/2 Bane early game, right? Then once you're at Overflow, you can either use this as complete board removal, or you can hold the spell and use it as disruption later for certain decks that really want specific combos, right? So this card's really strong. Fenny's hard to play after this. You want to be ahead on board. Fenny's better after Neptune. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. And yeah, and Feline is just going to pair really well with all these other new cards that we're seeing, like all these Megalorcas with Rush, right? Because she kills all damage followers, so you might not even need to evolve her in some board states to get that 1 damage on all enemy followers. But yeah, this card's good. I'm gonna give this a 5. I think this is Dragon's 5. I think this is the best Dragon card we've seen so far. And yeah, I think seeing all these new Neptune cards and seeing Feline, of course, I have a lot of hope for Ramp Dragon, actually. I have a lot of hope. So yeah, like Feline, we're giving this a 5. We were pretty high on it when it got released too, but yeah, they didn't make this the feat leader for nothing. Then we... Fenny. 8-drop 4/4. On play. Have the cost of all cards in your deck. We talked about this a lot on the other video when she was revealed. I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna give this a 2. I don't want to give it a 2 because I don't think it's that good. But seeing all this other ramp stuff, I do think there's a universe where you play this instead of Cocytus, because it comes down 2 turns earlier. I kind of said this in one of the comments on that video. Comes down 2 turns earlier, and does a similar effect where it replaces your deck with just high value cards, right? Because once everything's at half, all of the cards you draw from then on are high value. And I do think, Akamaru's Red is right, where you can probably get away with playing Neptune beforehand, healing, controlling the board, and then being able to play Fenny and getting all the value the next turn, especially if your hand... He's turning around, Watch my first game I boot up with Fenny. I'm going to get 3 copies of Fenny, watch. Yeah. I'm going to give it a 2. This is the best place to say this here. I am planning on doing, when the next set comes out, I'm planning on doing a set review where I look back on this set review and see if I was right or wrong. So that'll be interesting. I'm going to say that here on the Fenny card, right? On the Fenny review. I do like the art. It would be sick if this card is playable. But yeah, okay, that is Dragon. Dragon actually got away with some pretty good cards. I mean, all of the Megalorca stuff is really nice. The Arbiter, the Call, the Megalorca, and the Seasoned Merman. And then for Aggro Dragon, they got Pyreworm, which is really good, and Intent Dragonoot Princess, which fixes the draw issue, right? Everything else is like... Well, of course, we have Feline, which is the 5, right? But everything else is like, eh. But I do think it got some pretty good cards this set. So then we move on to Abyss. And Abyss is a set that, or is a class that I'm really excited for because if you guys may know, I've been playing Abyss a lot. Towards the end of the set 1 expansion, I actually played most of my Grand Prix with Abyss. And I think there's strengths to the deck that these new cards help fill in the gaps that the old deck had, right? So let's start with Raven. We actually start with a really strong card, in my opinion. 5-drop 3/4. Bane, evolve, select 2 enemy followers on the field and destroy them. Deal 2 damage to your leader. I've been scammed. The Ramp Dragon pre-built doesn't even give you the Evo Ramp Gold. The only Ramp card in the Ramp deck is Dragon Sight. Oh, no. I love those Trump Hearthstone videos. Yeah, I definitely want to do those. I definitely want to do this. Can't even dust her. Yeah. So yeah, Raven, 5-drop, 3/4. Bane, select 2 enemies on the field and destroy them, and then deal 2 damage to your leader. This card is actually really strong in control decks, right? Being able to clear, again, this, like, fully clears the Anangrea board, and you leave a 5/6 Bane. Really nice. But also later on, it's just a nice card to, control the board, right? This card's really nuts. I think this card is really, really strong. And I do think Control Abyss could exist with the 9-drop we'll talk about later, and some of these other cards. But I was already playing the, what is his name? The bronze 5-drop that is Blood Pact on a body. Darksteel Demon. I was already playing Darksteel Demon, and like, this card is like not that good. And it was mostly for the draw, but having like a Darksteel Demon that's like more removal based, I think is really good. I think this card is really nice, and fixes a lot of that like middle game for you. So I'm gonna give this. What do you guys think? 3 or 4? Only problem is that he is Evo dependent for sure. Actually, I think that's true. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 3 because he doesn't do anything else on if you don't have an Evo point. So I'm going to give this a 3. And the 2 damage to leader is like, whatever. So yeah, I'm going to give this a 3. Cultivator of Malice. 1-drop, 1/1, last words, add a ghost to your hand. There's a universe where this card is like absurdly broken. One of the better 1-drops we've seen in the game, right? Because it's I don't think we're ever going to get better stats than 1/1 on a 1-drop now for Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. But we get the ghost at the end of or when it dies, and then of course this comes back with Sharon, and we'll get more ghosts for more face damage and stuff. And of course the ghost combo into the Dark General, which we'll talk about later as well. So I could see some sort of aggro Abyss deck work, and I think this is one of the better cards for that. So definitely look out for Cultivator Malice. Obviously, it doesn't work well in the current deck we have because, because like we want Cerberus and we're so focused on the Cerberus, and obviously this interacts with the Cerberus pool, the Cerberus Reanimate pool. But maybe with Yuzuki, obviously I don't think Yuzuki would go in a deck that this would go into. But maybe like we're fine leaning away from the Cerberus like Reanimate stuff, and we're okay with Cerberus just being just the buff and the summon the 2 guys on play. I'm gonna give this a 3, but if it ends up being like a 4 or like just a really insane card, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm gonna give this a 3 because the deck that this would go into, it doesn't exist yet. You pulled a leader? Ooh, which leader? That's hype. I hope I get something cool. So what'd I say? 3. I'm giving this a 3. Very easily could see it being a 4. Then we move on to a really interesting card. Ghostly Soiree. 2-drop spell, add a ghost, skeleton, and rotting zombie to your hand. So this is going to give you 3 cards. Obviously, they're all like tokens, right? But they all have different applications for the Abyss decks, right? So the skeleton is, of course, just a 1/1, 0 cost 1/1 that's really nice. You can usually just like set it up before Cerberus or just play it out as a 1-drop, right? Or as a 1/1. The ghost is nice for, like we talked about, sort of the Dark General combos and just storm damage, face damage in general. And then the Rotting Zombie is a new token. 3-drop, 2/2, last words, summon a Rotting Zombie or remove last words from it. So it's a 2/2 that when it dies, it summons another 2/2. And it curves perfectly from this card, right? So you go Ghostly Soiree and then Zombie. This card is really nice for a lot of stuff we'll talk about later. And also this is really good with Raina that we talked about earlier in the neutrals. But yeah, I kind of like this card. I don't know if it will like see play, but maybe this card is just so much value that like in a control deck you would you'd want to play a card like this, right? It was Titania. Nice. Titania is the one I want for sure. Actually, crazy card that isn't allowed to see play. Yeah, the 1-drop, I imagine. Or this one. It's a 2-mana 1/1 that gives you 1 shadow and adds 2 cards to your hand in the worst case scenario. Yeah, exactly. And the 3-drop's, like, pretty good. Like, this is a token, but it's a pretty good token, right? So, yeah, I think that is a good way to see it. It's a 2-drop 1/1 that puts 2 cards in your hand that are, like, pretty okay, right? This is a card that gives you a direct follow-up turn, which is kind of nice, too, with the Rotting Zombie. So maybe this is good. Because I was giving Prim a lot of bonus points for being, like, card that gives you another play the next turn. I'm going to give this a 3. I was going to give it a 2, but I think I'm going to give this a 3, now that I think about it more. I think I'm going to give this a 3, yeah. Alright, here we go. Vuela. I think Haven will bully Sword and take the spot as the best mid-range deck. I could see that. I could definitely see that. I think Ward is going to be pretty nice and pretty hard to deal with, for sure. Alright, Vuela the Blastwing. I saw someone say, which kind of shocking, because I very much disagree, but I saw someone say, not in my chat, but just randomly, like on Reddit or something, that this was like the worst card in the set. I think this card is nuts. 3-drop 2/4 Rush. Whenever another allied follower super evolves, give it and this follower +2/+0. So, 3-drop 2/4 Rush is already like pretty good. That's basically average stats for a 3-drop, and it gains Rush. And it kind of has this nice stat line where you could maybe get 2 swings in with this, or like you swing 1 and kill something, and then the next turn it dies. But it's not just like a 4/2 rush would be way worse, right? I wonder if there's 4/2 rushes that exist in the game right now. I feel like people probably hate me for hating the dog so much, but you know. This card, nice stat for a card like this. I could see this in a control deck, right? And then think about later on, like with Olivia, this gives Olivia to 9 attack, and this to why can't I do math? To 7 attack, right? It'd be a 7/7 with Olivia, right? But also just it being on the field is just really nice. So yeah, I really like this thing. Yeah, it clears every 2 play point on curve. Exactly. Like you can even coin this out going second and clear anything. So I think this card is really strong in a control deck, and even just in most Abyss decks right now anyway. And yeah, and also in aggro, right? If aggro exists with that 1-drop, if this lives on the field, you super evolve and you just get 2 extra play points on your big storm guy that you super evolved, right? So really like Vuela. I also like that on a theoretical lethal turn where you're playing a storm, super evolving it, and then play storm, play this, and then super evolving something. Vuela becomes like something that can get a ward away, like kill a ward to go face. So I think this card is just really, really flexible. I'm going to give this a 4, actually. I'm going to give this a 4, knocking on the door of a 5 for sure. So yeah, I really, really like Vuela. Next card, Undead Soldier. 6-drop 3/3. Fanfare summon 2 copies of Rotting Zombie. Of course, the Rotting Zombie we've seen already. It's the 2/2 that when it dies, you summon another 2/2. I think this card is really good for those Cerberus-type decks. This is also really good if you're playing Raina. And I think both of those, like, styles of play go together, which is why I was kind of rating Raina as, like, an Abyss card. But yeah, I think this card is really good in the style of Abyss that we have right now. I do think Abyss is going to be changing a lot in this set. I think Abyss has the most directions to go because it has the same direction that we've been going, and then it has this like offshoot of control, and then it has this brand new deck that could exist in the aggro Abyss, right? So I think this is a deck that you'd throw in if it was a set 1 card, right? But right now, who knows where Abyss is going to go. I think I'm going to give this a 3, leaning on 2 just because it is a really weak card on that turn. But maybe your Abyss cards like give you so much value that you're able to just play this on 6 and not feel too bad. So yeah, I'm going to give this a 3, I think. I'm going to give this a 3. Open 20 packs and pulled 2 Ligma only? Oh, no. Cygames website to buy crystals crash? Oh, well, that's not good. Where do you stream from? I'm thinking Blade Runner. That's funny. That's funny. I stream from the Grand Blue Fantasy Airship. Alright. Next card, Winged Servants. 2-drop. Summon 2 copies of bats. This card, there's something that tells me this card is going to be broken when Vampy comes in. Probably next set. Yeah, something tells me this card's going to be broken when Bats gets their thing. But right now, this card's unplayable because Bats just aren't good. Cry Games corrupted. Reminds me of last set where I quickly pulled 4 Rose Queens. Yeah. Alright. Oh, wait. What did I say? Yeah, 1 right now. This is a 1. Laura, Cruel Commander. Gotta do shout out first. Used an amazing art from Rage of Muhammad. I always wanted them to use this art in the old game. Because it's literally like she's playing Shadowverse. Like, you could see the cards, falling down and stuff. Very cool. But anyway, 3-drop, 3/2. On play. Select another allied follower on the field and give it Bane. Super Evolve. Select another allied follower on the field and give it Storm. So, the immediate thing is she combos well with Sharon, which we'll talk about soon, where Sharon reanimates a 3-drop at the start of your turn. So you can get Laura, and then whatever you play, you can Super Evolve Laura and gain Storm. How good is that? Like, it's fine. Like, not amazing. It's fine. I honestly feel like this thing should have been fully statted. I think this should have been a 3/3. We already saw 3/3s with keywords already, right? And I think that, like, giving something else Bane is basically a keyword because it doesn't do anything else. It doesn't give it, like, +1 attack. I think this card's actually pretty bad, unfortunately. None of the combos sound good. Like, the Medusa combo is so convoluted, and it's still only 9 storm damage. The Elephant combo is so convoluted, and it's still only 10 storm damage. Whoa, that was weird. That was a weird sound. My throat is, like, super dry. That was funny. And then, what was I saying? The elephant. That was like a breathe in and like a snort. That was really weird. And then the elephant is all of that, and you're playing a bad card. So, I think this is a 2. Yeah, that was such a bizarre sound. It's funny. Yeah, I'm going to give Laura a 2. Yeah. Next card. Excella Nocturnal General. This, of course, is the Dark General. She got a leader in the first game. Very popular character and card. She was actually bronze in the first game. Rotting Zombie, yeah. 4-drop, 1/3. On play, give this follower +X, +0. X is the number of other allied followers on the field. Deal 2 damage to your leader. And then she has Storm. So, in aggro, this thing is awesome. In aggro, this thing is really awesome. That was some MMO sound. Yeah, it was like a breathe in and snort thing. That was funny. That was really funny. That's probably the sound the rotting zombie makes. I did the rotting zombie sound effect. This card is weird. I don't know. I think if aggro exists, this card's really good. But, and I think it is a little unfair to do this, but her original version was a 4/3 with Storm, if you're in Vengeance. And you have to play 3 things before she gets to her old version, right? And is that possible? Yeah, you have a lot of 0-drop skeletons, and you have a lot of ghosts that are Storms. And then, of course, like we were talking about with the Vuela, I think this is good. It's kind of like a weird style of like Roach, maybe a little bit too. But I think this will be good if Aggro Abyss exists. I just don't know if Aggro Abyss will exist. So, yeah, Excella. I'm going to give it a 2 for now. All right, next card. Gensetsu and Yuzuki, Twin Calamities. 9-drop, 5/9. Select a mode to activate. Fanfare, summon 4 copies of One-Tailed Fox, which are the 2-drop 2/3s with Rush Ward, and then last words give a random allied Gensetsu and Yuzuki on the field +1 attack. And then the other mode is destroy 4 random enemy followers and restore 4 defense to your leader. I really, really, really like this card. I think this is a really nice card to make the deck not so dependent on Cerberus. I really like that this needs no Evo points. This is just play it, and you get, in effect, either big board fill or kill a bunch of things and heal, right? And then it's another like great card after Cerberus, so that you don't have to be so dependent on like, I need to get this Cerberus 14 damage OTK or whatever. And I think this is going to make Control Abyss actually really viable and maybe pretty good. This is one of the first decks I want to try. I just really like these type of cards, these type of control cards, you know. So really like Gensetsu. I think it's pretty flexible. This might be a little high, but I'm going to give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 4. Because I think it goes in the deck that exists right now, right? The Abyss deck that exists right now. So I'm going to give this a 4. Next card is Sharon, Stygian Oarswoman. 5-drop 4/4. Fanfare, reanimate 2 and reanimate 1. Whenever an allied departed follower enters the field, give it ward. And if we remember, reanimate gives the follower the departed trait. So anything you summon will get ward. And then on Super Evolve, she's going to give you a crest, countdown 2. At the start of your turn, reanimate 3. So I think that this card is really nice. Shadow has had a history of like really good 5-drops. And this is a pretty good 5-drop. I wouldn't say this is a really good 5-drop, but it's a pretty good 5-drop. But right now, Abyss has a lot of good 2-drops. And it's getting a couple 1-drops. Of course, if you are playing more of the Cerberus deck, the Skeleton is going to be that reanimate 1 slot because you don't have any 1-drops, hopefully, right? Yeah, I think this card is really nice. I think this card is really good in Aggro Abyss, actually, if that exists. Being able to resummon Vuela is kind of nice on the Super Evolve, right? That lets you get a really nice turn of, like, Excella killing your opponent. So that's pretty cool. But, yeah, I really like this card. I really like Sharon. Of course, Sharon is one of my favorite characters. So, yeah, I'm going to give this a 3. I'm going to give Sharon a 3. Overall, Abyss is Abyss the first class that didn't get a 5, I think. Yeah, Abyss is the first class that didn't get a 5. I think that's fair, though. Abyss was the class that needed the most help, but I do think, like, Vuela's pretty good. Raven's pretty good. Thinking about this more, I think this is good. And then the 2 legendaries are really nice, too. So, yeah, Abyss, pretty good. I mean, the only bad card is Winged Servants. No, I'm talking about in the class. Because I've given every class so far a 5. Or I've given 1 card in every class a 5. Forest, yeah, the Forest Gold Spell was a 5. Gildaria was a 5. Norman was a 5. And then, did I give Felina 5? Yeah, I gave Felina 5. So yeah. Too busy enjoying Sword. Alright, Haven. Cleric of Crushing, 3-drop 2/4 ward. On evolves, destroy select a super evolved enemy follower and destroy it. I don't know. You gotta play it for the ward stuff. And what? After Wilbert, it becomes a 3/6. So okay, has a niche evolve effect, but on curve, it's pretty whatever. It does stop a lot of early aggression, which is kind of nice. It's a pretty well statted ward, but it is gonna get like swung over later in the game until you hit Wilbert, right? So, but you do just have to play because it's one of your only pulls from Aether. I'm gonna give this a 2. I'm torn between Dragon and Forest. Is there any timeline where I play the 3rd Aria? I think so. I think in mid-range Forest you play 3 Arias, especially now with the gold spell. That's my opinion, though. Damus, Oracle of Malice, 2-drop 2/2. Fanfare, select the enemy follower on the field and give it, at the end of your turn, destroy this card. So this is another one of those things where it gives the follower an effect, and then that means it's their, card. So this would be, you play this, and then at the end of their turn, it gets destroyed. How good is this card? I think it's pretty bad. Maybe in a hard control Haven deck, it's fine, but I'm going to give this a 2. I think it's only good because it's a fighter. If it wasn't a fighter, it'd be a 1. If it had any worse stats, it'd be a 1. But, yeah, I'm going to give this a 2. Luminous Sensor, 2-drop. Is this supposed to be like Luminous, like the Luminous Knights and stuff? 2-drop Amulet. Engage 1, destroy this card. Restore 4 defense to your leader. Really, again, another card that's like, if we get Elena or something, we're balling, but right now, I guess it's a 2-drop, or it'd be 3 total, but a 3-drop heal 4 is already played in Rune, right? It's an amulet too. Yeah, I'll give this a 3. I'm gonna give this a 3. I think this is a pretty good amulet. I'm gonna give this a 3. Force is, I like my mid-range force, yeah. Colette Barrage Exorcist. I love Colette. She's one of my favorite characters from the original game. Her cards have never been, like, amazing. But 3-drop 2/2. Do this 1 time. Deal 2 damage to a random enemy follower. If there are at least 2 allied amulets on the field, do it 2 times instead. This is a really nice removal card for Amulet Haven, which is getting a lot of support this set. Yeah, it's just an on-curve removal, and you can easily get 2 amulets before turn 3, and you just clear any early game board. So I actually really, really like Colette a lot. This is actually really good. I'm kind of tempted to give a 4. It's just good in future heal. Yeah, exactly. Do I give Colette a 4? I'm going to give Colette a 4. That might be a hot take. But I think, thinking about it more, I think this is actually a really good card. I think a really good card in its deck. And, like, the deck is not bad, because it's getting a lot of good support. Because it got this, Agnes, and then the Luminous Sensor is not bad in it either. Then we get Immaculate Agitator. 5-drop 4/4. Select the enemy file on the field and banish it. Pretty simple effect, pretty simple text, but why would you play this guy instead of Odin? There's not a ton of things you really need to banish early on like that. Maybe you want 6 banish effects. That means you're playing like super hard aggro, or I mean super hard aggro, super hard control. I will say though, this does fix one of my issues with the deck, where you don't have a lot of removal that is non-evo cards, right? So I do like it in that aspect, but I'm not sure. Maybe it is okay. Maybe I'm leaning 2. But maybe 3 is 3 a.m. Thanks for the content. I'll watch the rest tomorrow and during my daily stuff. Yeah, have a good one, man. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, we're almost done with the card review. I do want to get to playing the game, but we do got to finish this. Prim is so good on Corn, by the way. I hadn't thought about it. Yeah. 2 premium Gildarias, too? Wow, that's great. That's great. But you don't even like Sword. Good tech. Yeah, I think this is a good tech. I'm going to give this a... I'll give this a 2. I'll give this a 2. Divine Guard. Select an allied follower on the field with Ward and give it +1 health. Deal X damage to a random enemy follower. X is the selected follower's defense. This can end up doing a lot of damage, and it is just a 1-cost removal, but it is random, so it will kind of feel bad if you whiff. But you might, because it costs so much or so little, you probably can set up boards where you just like swing into a bunch of stuff, and then there's only one thing left, and then you can play this and kill something. I actually really like this card. Wardhaven, I think, is going to be good. Anyway, so I'm going to give this a 4. I think this is a really good removal spell for Wardhaven. Agnes the Swift Blade. 5-drop 3/4. Storm, strike if there are at least 2 allied amulets on the field. Destroy random enemy follower other than the opposing one. I think I kind of was down on this card when it first got revealed. But think about it more, I think this card is actually really good. I think with Wardhaven, you're probably going to want maybe 1 or 2 amulets already, probably Darkhaven Grace, and then this is sort of like a maybe interesting option in that deck. But outside of that, in any other Haven deck, this card is really nuts. There's a 5-drop removal that takes no evil points, and you can go face, and it's flexible where you can swing into something else and then kill something else, right? I actually really like this card. I think this is a really nice card. I could see some sort of like control Haven that has a lot of storm options like this in Odin to close games after, you know, outside of like the big, what's his name? The big bird. So yeah, I actually like this card thinking about it more. And, you know, you can pump this with Darkhaven Grace too, because Darkhaven Grace is probably gonna be played in an amulet deck. So really like it. I'm getting the chills while playing Gildaria. It's so cool. Is it? I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see the animation, everything. And the voice acting, everything. This is nuts. Which one, Agnes or the spell? Yeah, I think Agnes is pretty good. I'm gonna give this a 4. I'm gonna give this a 4, actually. I'm gonna give this a 4. Next is Maddening Benison. What does that mean? What does Benison mean? 2-drop, restore 10 defense to your leader, gain crest Maddening Benison. That's funny to say. It's a fun word to say. Crest, countdown to last words, deal 10 damage to your leader. So this is a really interesting, like, barrier card where it's like, you get 10 health for 2 turns, right? And then if you have 2 of these, crests can't stack, so you'll basically get 10 health, right? You'll get the 10 heal at some point. Beatitude, Benediction, Blessing. So, is this card good right now? No, not at all. Could it be good later on? Probably. And I wouldn't be shocked if this card ended up seeing play at some point. Right now I'm going to give it a 1, but if we get some barrier card, right, some card that gives our leader barrier, this is an amazing card, right? So, yeah, pretty interesting card. Next, we have the legendaries. Aether, Empyrean Guardian. I gave it a 1, right? Yeah. Not Aether, the card before. Abyss is understaffed, unless promoted by Malice. Or prompted by Malice. 7-drop 2/4 Ward. Fanfare, summon 3 random differently named followers that cost 3 or less from your deck. And on Super Evolve, give all other allied followers on the field +0/+2 in aura. So, Aether's interesting because when she came out, I was like, okay, they're going to print a bunch of Ward 3-drops. They actually didn't. So we really only have Cleric of Crushing, Grimnir, who we talked about earlier, and then the old Holy Shield Maiden. So those are going to be our polls from Aether. Those are like not bad polls at all. It's like a so after Wilbert, it would be a 3/3 with Barrier, a 3/6 the Cleric of Crushing, and a 3/5 in the Grimnir. And then, of course, on Super Evolve, Aether is going to give everything else +2 health and aura. So that ends up being pretty nice, but maybe you don't play one of these, and then you just hope to go into your 2-cost pool. I can see that as well. But yeah, Aether's insane. This is very similar to Arthur. Wrong case, sorry. Is that from Yu-Gi-Oh? And yeah, cards like this have always been pretty good. And I do think this will make Wardhaven really strong. Yeah, not much else to say. I think this is going to be a 4. It would be a 5, and I think it could end up being a 5 if we got more Ward 3-drops, right? Another thing is, like, this card is just like a good card in other non-Wardhaven decks, right? It just summons 3 things. So maybe that's good enough. I don't know. We'll see. Pretty interesting card, though. I'm going to give this a 4. But yeah. Wilbert, Desolate Paladin. This is, of course, the big Wardhaven guy. 6-drop, 4/6, Ward. Last word, summon 2 copies of Holy Cavalier. That is a 1/2 with ward. Evolve, gain Crest, Wilbert. And then the Crest is whenever an allied follower with ward enters the field, so not played from hand or anything, but just enters the field, give it +1/+2. So obviously this guy's going to come down, evolve, be a 6/8, or even a 7/9. And when he dies, he's going to summon 2 2/4s. Really nice. And then, of course, then the next turn, Aether going to come down and summon all of your ward things, and then probably Super Evolve and give everything Aura and +2 health. And those turns back-to-back are going to be really hard to deal with. And then if even one of those things live, you're going to be able to John clear the opponent's board, and then John's going to be, what, a 7/8, right? Ward, and then give everything else +2/+4, and you probably win the game from there. So that is like the God curve. Also, of course, this plays really well into Grimnir, one of the better cards we've already talked about. So yeah, I really like Aether, or I do really like Aether, but Wilbert, this whole package you kind of got to talk about together. I think I'm going to give Wilbert a 4. I really wanted to see more ward support in these bronzes and silvers. We only really saw 2. We saw the Cleric of Crushing and the Divine Guard. So kind of a little disappointed in that. But that's the only reason I'm giving him a 4, because he is reliant on support, right? Both of these cards are. So going to give him a 4. Overall, I think Haven is interesting. Looking at the cards more, I'm actually kind of excited to try Amulet Haven some more. Ward Haven is probably going to be good, and probably going to be just like sort of... It's going to be Ward Haven, right? Yeah. Yeah, Gildaria, Grimnir combo is insane. Did you get it off? Nice. I'm excited to try it. Then we move on to the last craft, the last class. I'm sure a lot of people were excited for me to talk about this. I saw someone say, wait till he sees Artifact Catapult. Okay. First card. 6-drop, Engine Blade Maven. 6-drop, 4/5. Fanfare, summon Striker Artifact. That's the 5/1 rush. And add a Gear of Remembrance to your hand. That's the blue. And on Evolve, you replicate the effects of this card's Fanfare ability. So you get another 5/1 with rush and a blue. This card's actually like pretty good. Is it better than Sylvia? Probably not. Sylvia is healing and a lot more removal and stuff. But this is an insane card in draft, right? In Take 2. And even then, this is still like pretty playable. Like if Sylvia didn't exist, I think you would play this card. I'm going to give this a 2 though. I think you just have better cards to play. But I do really like a card like this. Really nice like budget card. If you don't have Sylvia, right? So yeah, really like Engine Blade Maven. I'm going to give it a 2 though. Puppet Cat, 2-drop, 2/2. Fanfare, if there's a super evolved ally follower on the field, add a puppet to your hand and give it +3/+0. I think this card's pretty unplayable. In Puppet, you want to be saving all your super evos and evos for the late game with Orcus and Liam, and you never really have 2 play points to play with like that, and even if you did, it still wouldn't be like that amazing. I wish he had one other build. Like, I wish he had, like, Fanfare, put a puppet in your hand, and then, like, and then this effect where you get another puppet with +3 attack or something. But yeah, I think this guy's unplayable. I think he's a 1. Or if this card was puppetry traded, which I guess would maybe be too good, but, yeah. Portal Rested Sleeper, yeah. Yeah, Sylvia can kill 2 and draw heal. Yeah, exactly. Alright. Card everyone was talking about. Artifact Catapult. 2-drop Amulet. On play, add a Gear of Ambition to your hand. Engage. Oh, it costs 3? Oh, this card is way worse than I thought. This card is way worse. This card is not good. Never mind. Okay. That's good. Engage 3. Destroy this card. Select the artifact follower in your hand that costs 5 or less. Summon an exact copy of it and give the exact copy at the end of your turn. Destroy this. At the end of your opponent's turn, destroy this card. The only reason this card could have been good is because Carnelia evos and gives one of your artifact followers can't be destroyed by abilities, so it would like not be destroyed, right? But the fact that you have to pay 3 for this is, I don't like this. I'd rather just play a 2-drop, and I think artifact is going to go more aggro-y, so you'd rather just play a 2-drop that gives you a gear rather than like play this thing that later on, like if you get Carnelia, gives you like a free, like a artifact, but it's not even free, you still have to pay 3 for it. Yeah, for some reason I thought it was free. Yeah, I don't think this card's that good. I don't think this card's that good. I'll give it a 2 because it says Artifact. If it wasn't like Artifact, or if Artifact wasn't that good, I'd give it a 1. Yeah, I think it's a 2 though. I don't think this card's that good. Like maybe no, because you wouldn't even have enough. Can you ever get enough? No, it's still not good. Because I was thinking, like, could you ever get enough to get the AoE on 3, like on curve, where you go play this on 2 and then on 3 you can AoE? But no, you can't, because 1 you artifact recharge, and then you play this and you can get the heal guy, I guess, but that's not that good. So yeah, I think this is a 2. I don't think you'll play this at all. Icarus, man, yeah, we'll talk about Icarus. Veer, Heartslayer, I was right. Veer did get a card. I thought she'd be a gold, but she's a silver. 2-drop 1/1. Fanfare, select a puppetry follower in your hand and transform it into a Doll Slayer. And she has a Bane. The Doll Slayer is a 1-drop 1/1 ambush. And then last words, you summon a Veer. Yeah, I think this card is really cool. I really, really like this card. Basically, it's a 2-drop, and you can turn any of your puppets or enhanced puppets into these Doll Slayers, which are ambushers. And then once these ambushers die, you get a Veer back, which is a Bane. So it's actually a lot of value. I really like this card. How good is it? I think it's pretty good in puppets, but I'm not too sure how good puppets is going to be. I hope it's good, and I do think this card is going to slot into puppets. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I like this card. Yeah, I like this card. Another good Raina type card, right? So you can get the Doll Slayers with ambush and stuff, right? So here we go. Akeem, Lord of Despair. 5-drop, 3/3 on evolve. Select enemy file on the field with 4 attack or less. Banish it and then summon an exact copy of it. I think this card's kind of interesting. Oh wait, did I give Veer a rating? Hold on. I'll give it a 3. I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm gonna give Veer a 3. All right, let's go back to Akeem. So 5-drop 3/3 evo to a 5/5. Banish a 4-attack thing or less, and summon an exact copy of it. How good is this? It's kind of interesting. I think it's a cool effect. You get a lot of value if you can banish like a good card. But like, what 4-attack things could you get? Like, are there anything that's like really? You could get a attack artifact, the damage artifact. I mean, the beta, right? Yeah, the beta, or the heal one. You could get wards, right? You could get like, probably not an amazing play, but you could get Orcus's Lloyd, right? That'd be kind of funny. But other than that, it is just like removal, and then you get even more stats and stuff, right? So I kind of like it. I wish it had an on play, and I wish its stats was like a 3/4 or something. Yeah, pretty interesting card. I'm gonna give it like a 3, but it's maybe more leaning toward the 2. Does it retain evolve status? Usually I would say no, but I'm actually not sure because it says exact copy of it. Veer and the Doll Slayer actually makes your board a lot more awkward to remove efficiently. Yeah, it does, yeah. Are you getting the Forte art? Probably, most likely. Alright, Flight of Icarus. Awesome art. Icarus is, pretty iconic Shadowverse card, or character. 1-drop, spell. I misread this the first time I read this. So originally I was like, this card sucks. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Select an artifact follower in your hand. I thought it was on the field. In your hand, and give it rush and last words draw a card. This card is really nuts. It's basically 1 cost, draw a card, and you're going to be able to put it on things and summon duplicates of it and stuff. So over the course of time, you're probably going to be able to draw a bunch of cards, right? If you like put it on a card and then you go like summon a copy of it with Alouette, summon a copy of it with Karula, and then summon a copy of it with Ramia, you're drawing 3 cards over the course of the game, right? And they're all getting rush. And it's all at the cost of 1. I think this card's insane. I think this card is really, really, really strong. I don't think it's a 5, but I think it's a 4. Yeah, Kagemitsu, yeah. Hakim can banish Kagemitsu, which is pretty funny. I'm going to give this a 4. I think this card is really insane for already one of the best decks in the game right now. Then we have Carnelia. Let me take a drink of water. Alrighty. Carnelia, 2-drop, 2/2. Ember of Darkness. Fanfare, add a Gear of Remembrance to your hand. That's the blue. On evolve, select an artifact follower in your hand and give it Ward. And can't be destroyed by abilities. So this is kind of the card with the catapult, right? How good is this effect? I think the Evo effect is like niche. I do think you probably will lean more towards an aggro artifact build with the Karula and stuff, which we'll talk about here soon. And I think this does. I think in that build you would play Doomwright, and then I think in the or like because you're playing Doomwright, you want this effect, right? So I think that's pretty interesting. It is also just a fighter that you get a gear in, so pretty nice. I think there's just a 4 out of 5. It's just a really good card in one of the best decks right now. It has a niche ability. Maybe I should give it a 3 then. No, because it's definitely better than these other cards I gave 3s. So yeah, I'll give it a 4. I think upgrade for Portalcraft is so weak. So yeah, I'm gonna give Carnelia a 4. Here we go. Synchronous Hearts. I don't love the name. I wish it would have been like, I don't know, because the original was Heartless Battle. I wish they would have been able to heartfelt, heartful, something. You know, I don't know. Anyway, 6-drop, summon a Lloyd of Victoria. We know what Lloyd is. Victoria is the 6/1 with Rush and Follow Strike. Deal X damage to the opposing follower. X is his follower's attack. So this is just a nuke. This can kill anything that's 12 health or below. And then if it's 6 health or below, this lives. I actually really like this card for puppets. Just adding more cards that are just like big nukes that let you save evil points, I think is really strong. And I just love the flavor of this card. Heartless Battle was very cool art, very cool card from the original Shadowverse and Rage of Hamet, where they're fighting, and now they're kind of, made up. And, so really like this. And now you summon both of them. The original, you have to choose one. Really like this. Really flavorful card. And yeah, I'm going to give this like a 3, though. I think this is a 3. Because I think Zwei is better at summoning Victoria. But I do think this is a pretty good card in puppets. Then we have Zwei. Meta's been fun so far. People are playing the same rune deck with 0 changes. Oh no, are they? They're not even playing. They're not even playing Norman or Owen. Zwei 5-drop 3/3. Fanfare, summon a Victoria. Whenever an allied puppetry follower enters the field, give it Ward. And then Victoria, of course, we just talked about. Again, another very basic, just big, insane, like, removal piece. This does answer an Anne and Gray board, but you do have to spend an Evo point. But yeah, I really like this card. I think this is really good for puppets. Both of these cards are going to be able to let you save Evo points and stuff, right? Which is what you want to be doing, because you want to be using the Evo points on Orcus and, what's his name? Liam. So, yeah, really like this card. But I think I do have to give it a 3 out of 5, just because I don't think Puppets is going to be amazing. Really looking forward to the look back video. Did I give something already you don't agree with? Or you just mean that in a general way? I am too. I think it'll be interesting. It's going to be so fun to be like, yeah, I was wrong about Fenny. Fenny is like the best card ever made. Like, what if they literally nerf Fenny? I'm sitting here like shitting on Fenny, and they're just like, literally gets nerfed. Yeah, all right. Next is Karula, Eternal Arts, 6-drop 5/4. On play, select the artifact follower in your hand that costs 5 or less and summon an exact copy of it. And then on Super Evolve, give this follower can attack 2 times per turn. This is a 5. This is a 5, obviously. This is, in my opinion, the best card in the set. If Norman ends up being the best card in the set, I wouldn't be surprised though. But Karula right now, I think, is the best card in the set because it's the one of the best decks right now. Just being able to like have extra copies of Alouette, who's already one of the best cards in Artifact. But the issue with Artifact was if you don't draw Alouette, you're playing a completely different deck. So now you have 6 copies, and this doesn't even take an evil point. And I think now that you have multiple copies of Alouette, you can just play this aggro, play as many betas as possible. And also, for some reason, if you let this guy live, you automatically die because he does 16 damage the next turn. For whatever reason, I really don't know why they said he needs to attack twice. So not only is he summoning the beta, dealing 3 damage with the 4/4, and then you Super Evo and clear their board, but then you're looking at an 8/7 and a 4/4 that are both threats that you have to answer after you probably already used resources to clear the Alouette board. So very fun. Yeah, Karula 1 out of 5 unplayable, yeah. Still Orcus in that. Yeah, so this is a 5. Yeah, Karula's just insane. But yeah, that is the set review. Now we can actually play the game. So, yeah, I know everyone's like already playing now and stuff, but we have a lot of packs to open and fun stuff. But hope you guys enjoyed that card review. Let me know, either in the chat or the comments if you're watching this later. What card do you think I got right, and which card do you think I got wrong? But yeah, now it's time to play the game.